Okay. All right, guys. We'll get started here. So what happened? Somebody reached out to us?
Yep, somebody reached out. Free house in San Antonio.
Free house in San Antonio, Texas. Okay.
Here's the address.
Whoa, that's a complicated address there. Can you 6039 TAN?
ZANITE. Rim.
Okay. Here it is. Solid looking property. Solid looking property. So here's what we're doing today, guys. If you're new here, I'll just give you a quick rundown, like 2-minute rundown. I get paid finder's fees for finding people who buy houses property, right? That's most of what I do. They give me finder's fees when I find them a property that they end up wanting to purchase. And the thing is, there could be a ton of different ways that buyers want these houses. What do I mean by ways? Well, there's types. So, for example, some buyers want houses that are in immaculate turnkey renovated condition. Other buyers, like myself, want destroyed, wrecked properties so they can value add, meaning renovate the property and then sell it for a profit. So that's the high level of it. Now, within the properties that want distressed and renovated properties, there's like subcategories. So, for example, a property that doesn't make any money each month because its mortgage exceeds the rent is not really something that an investor, like a rental investor, would want because it doesn't make any money, right? It's for rental purposes, but if it doesn't make any money as a rental, nobody wants it. That's pretty obvious, right? Okay, well, how could we make a property that doesn't make any money appealing to another buyer for turnkey renovated houses? Well, a house, is a place to live in before it's an investment. So, in theory, we could tap into the largest group of buyers in the world who are retail buyers like you. You're all hopefully going to buy a property to live in one day, right? That's a big part of how people retire in the United States. And the largest group of buyers in the United States are retail buyers. Now, how do we make a property appealing to a retail buyer in a sea of properties that they could purchase? It's the financing terms. If a retail buyer could potentially avoid a down payment and a qualification process, they'll buy your deal. Does that make sense? Now, wait a second. Avoid a down payment. How do we get into a house without a down payment? Isn't that kind of insane? And how do we get into a house without a qualification process? Well, it's actually quite simple. In fact, you would probably give me your house if you were in this seller situation. Now, what I want you to imagine is, imagine that you have a property and you owe exactly what the house is worth. Or let's say it's worth $350,000 and you owe 30K below that, 220,000, 330,000 if it's a 350K house. Well, the problem is, given how many opportunities buyers have right now, they're going to lowball you because sellers need you a lot more than buyers need you. That's called a buyer. That's called a buyer's market. So buyers are going to lowball you, and then the realtor is going to take 6% of that. So at your asking price, maybe you make 5 to 10K on the sale, right? But if an offer comes in even slightly below that figure, you are going to break even on the sale of the house. So if I can find somebody who has a property where they owe pretty close to what the house is actually worth, chances are they're going to know that they're not going to make any money on the sale, and they might be willing to just let us step into their shoes on the debt. And now, do I have anybody watching who lives in San Antonio, Texas? Anybody at all who lives in San Antonio, Texas? It's a pretty big city. It's a pretty big city. We probably have a lot of people who are watching right now who live in San. Look at this guy right here. This guy says his name is Sweaty Crocs. Sweaty Crocs lives in San Antonio, Texas. Now, if I were to come to you and I said, hey, I've got a property for you, it is 5K down, no qualification, doesn't go on your credit score. Chances are you're never going to see a better opportunity with lower qualification and lower down payment than you will here. It's almost impossible. The idea that you could buy a house for $5,000 down without qualifying for that property, it's just like, wow, that's never going to happen to me again. It's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I can usually collect a $5,000 to $7,000 fee off of somebody who wants to live in the property, but I'd have to get that house for $0 down. Now, the only way I can get a house like this for $0 down is if the seller is going to lose money on the sale. Now, fortunately, my assistant Andrew here just had somebody reach out to him. What was the outreach? What was the interaction like?
He submitted to our website.
He submitted it through the website, and did you talk to him at all?
Yeah.
What's he saying?
He just straight up said, I've seen your videos. I'm underwater. I want you to take over my bet.
He's underwater. So this guy's underwater. Now that could be, I mean, he definitely wants to give us the house for $0 down, but there's two ways you could be underwater. You could be underwater on the mortgage payments. You could be underwater on the equity of the house. I'm happy if they're underwater on the equity because I don't really care about the equity under. Hold on. We're not really concerned about the equity for a retail buyer right now. But if they're behind on payments, that's another thing. And we'll have to figure out how to catch those payments up. Maybe the seller can help with that. Maybe they can do a loan modification. We'll see. But essentially, I'm going to hop on the phone with the seller right now and see if he'll give me his house for free. Now, if I'm somebody who's looking to live in a house, I do want to let you know that this opportunity exists everywhere in the United States. The low equity situation where people are underwater on their equity and would lose money if they sold their house. This is in every single city, every single state around the United States. The only place it would be hard to find is rural markets, like middle of nowhere markets where there's just not very many properties for sale. So the key is if you're listening to this, you don't have to flush $25,000 down the toilet each year in rent. Yeah, you know, if you think about it, $25,000 disappears each year in rental payments for you. Instead, that could be going towards equity. And then in 25 to 30 years, you've paid that house off and you have 100% equity in it. And the property's 3x, 4x in value and you can retire. So you're making a payment right now that disappears. But what if you were making a payment that turned into $1 million later? That's what it's like to own a property and your taxes go down when you own. So if you're thinking, well, I don't know if I could do this in my area. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. This lead just happens to be in San Antonio, but I do this in Florida. I do this in Texas. I do this in Arizona. It can be done all over. In fact, I own my primary residence off of somebody who found a seller who's willing to let me take over his debt on the property that I live in. And I gave that guy a $10,000 finder's fee. So yeah, you know, I paid the finder's fee and other people pay the finder's fee. And in the past month, we've been able to collect $14,000 in finder's fees off of just the free houses that I found. So this is another type of lead that you can convert into a wholesale deal. And we're going to jump on that call right now. All right. You got a phone number?
Yep. His rate, by the way, is 6.5.
So he's got a market interest rate, guys.
But if he sells at his asking price, he's going to lose money.
I stole some of your water because I must have dropped my phone in something and it's sticky and we're getting rid of that. I don't like that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and give the seller a call and maybe he will give us his house. Maybe he has some perceived equity in his property. Is VA loan good for sub 2? The seller wants to buy. So the seller can buy another property if they have a VA loan and you take it over subject to the existing mortgage. The only issue with that is veterans have what's called entitlement, and entitlement is the amount of loans or monetary amount that they are responsible for. I just got a super important text. I got to respond to this. Hold on. One sec, guys. One sec. I just have to answer this text, and my phone is moving incredibly slow. Apple is purposely slowing down my phone to make me buy a new phone. This is a 16 Apple. Come on. Okay. All right, here we go. And I feel like I'm going to record this call here, guys, because I do want you guys to be able to listen to this at a later date. So I'm going to use my CRM to record this. Okay. And we are jumping into this now. His name is Nathaniel, and he owns a property in San Antonio, Texas. Why? Why did it do that? Why did it do that? Oh, no. Come on. Come on. No more delays. No more delays. Just work.
Telephone number 8.
Hey, Andrew, he didn't pick up the phone. You want to shoot him a text? All right, let me know when he's ready, okay? Okay, we'll call that guy a little bit later. Doesn't sound like he's available right now. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call my buddy Quade here. He's a buyer for so pivoting, switching gears now. You have to be able to switch gears in wholesale pretty quickly. You call a seller, they don't pick up the phone. Okay, call him back later. That's fine. My next call in relation to wholesaling activities is last week I assigned $21,000. Does that mean I'm gonna make 21? Oh, muted on Instagram. Hold on. We're gonna restart Instagram. Of course, Instagram. Of course, we're muted. Of course, you did that again. Okay. So next, we assigned $21,000 last week, and I'll tell you exactly how I did it and what's going on here. I'll give you the addresses too. The addresses on the properties that I assigned last week. Hopefully, I'm sharing my screen. Yes, I am. They are a duplex in Cleveland, Ohio. Code violations, probably not. 7206 Donald, Cleveland, Ohio. 1024 East 74th, Cleveland, Ohio. And 10218 Parkgate, Cleveland, Ohio. We assigned these for a cumulative $21,000, like a damn car. Insane. $21,000. I mean, at any level up, that's good money. 21K is good money at any level. So what happens now? Well, as soon as you assign a property to a buyer, the buyer has to go check the property. And it's not a given that I'm going to get the 21K, because what if the property's in terrible condition? What if there's code violations? What if literally anything? So I have to call the buyer as they walk the property, and I have to get feedback from the buyer and say, hey, what did you think about this? What are you going to ask from the seller? And then I'm going to sort of act as the liaison between the seller and the buyer, kind of as a realtor would, but without actually having a license, because I'm not a licensed realtor. I'm literally just some guy doing this from my home. And we're going to see if there's any fixes needed. I think it went decently, but I could be totally wrong. So hopefully I don't eat my words here. Here we go. We're calling the buyer this time. Instagram, let me know if I get muted. Come on, pick up the phone, bro. No, he's on a call. All right. Change it. Collect more properties from the seller that gave us these $20,000 in assignments. He has more. He told me today, hey, I've got more property, and I'm going to go ahead and give him a call. So pivoting gears again. If I don't get one here, I'll pivot one more time before I take questions on this. These calls are going to happen on this live stream, but I can't really control whether or not people pick up the phone. So I'm guessing one of these two parties will call me back shortly. But in the meantime, I'm going to make one more acquisitions call. So this is the first one was an acquisitions call. Seller did not pick up. The second one was a dispositions call. Buyer did not pick up. The third one, we're going back to acquisitions, and we're having a conversation with the seller who may have more properties for us. I don't know if they're viable, but we'll find out. Here we go. Where do I start? You start at Hold My Hand Wholesale in the live stream, because people are watching my screen share as I do this in real time. And then I'll bring them up for questions, and you could be in the audience taking questions. Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Before I called you, I called the buyer, and I was going to see if we could get feedback on the walkthroughs. I think we do have feedback. I asked him, I said, hey, can you figure out what you're going to ask of the seller, if anything, on these? And then we should have that conversation today. So I should know more about that today. He just didn't pick up the phone. But I understand you've got some more properties.
I do. I would prefer to chat about them in like an hour, if that's okay.
Absolutely. We can totally do that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Pain and sadness. Very unfortunate. Let's see if we have anything else we can call here today, because I'm pretty sure we do. I was hoping we could have some live calls right now, and I had 3 lined up, and all 3 are not available. But okay, here's one. So this says, would you buy my house? I have 209 left on my mortgage, and the house is worth 335. I have a 3% interest rate on it. You know, Here's a guy who wants me to take over his debt. He says his house is worth $335. I believe him. And he owes $209,000 on his mortgage at a 3% interest rate. This is a great interest rate, but the problem is he has over $100,000 in equity, and buyers are not going to put $100K down for a $300K house. It just ain't going to happen. It's just not going to happen. We're not going to find a buyer that's like, I'll put $100K down on 300,000. No. So that doesn't do anything for me. The next guy says, "Hi, Richard. I'm an agent in Coldwater Banker, Michigan. Saw your videos when you dealt with low equity and you're able to close. Would you be open to looking at a property in Grand Rapids, Michigan?" Yes, I will consider your property in Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's not a rural area. It says Wyoming, Michigan. Is Wyoming Grand Rapids? Yeah, Wyoming, Michigan is Grand Rapids, Michigan. Okay. Ooh. Also not much we can do on this one. So here's the next lead. The next lead is a $250,000 house. My members in my community are watching my screen share, but I'll describe what I'm looking at to the people who are on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. It's a 2-bed, 1-bath listed for $250,000. Now, if you want to be a successful wholesaler, understanding my thought process right here in this moment is super important. What do I think when I see a $250K single family as a 2-bed, 1-bath? Maybe we have somebody in the audience who could tell me. 250K, 200 Michigan. Where do I sign? Hey, Sue, welcome back. Why is that so overpriced? Well, I don't know. But I'll tell you what I think about it. It doesn't cash flow. It doesn't cash flow, and it doesn't need a rehab. You have to consider why investors are buying these properties. So when I remember when I first started wholesaling, I'd look at a house and I'd think to myself, could this be a deal? And I would spend an exorbitant amount of times racking my brain as to whether or not this could be a deal without even calling the seller. But I look at this and I instantaneously know it's not a deal. How? I haven't comped the property. I don't know what the property rents out for. How could I know it's not a deal? Well, let's think about every strategy that an investor would do, and we'll cross this off the list. So first strategy, rental. Somebody's calling. I think we have one of our sellers calling us back, but I'll answer this really quickly. As a rental, the mortgage exceeds the rent. You buy the property, you pay more than it rents out for. As a flip, well, it's a 2-bed, 1-bath, so people don't really want to flip a 2-bed, 1-bath. And then the second thing is it's already renovated. It doesn't need a flip. And then the third thing, as far as a low equity deal, it's not in a super big city. It's also a 2-bed, 1-bath. And it's going to be hard for me to find somebody to move into this for $0 down in Grand Rapids, Michigan as a 2-bed, 1-bath. It just doesn't really make sense for all types of situations. Even if I lowball the seller, still doesn't cash flow. Even if I lowball the seller, it's still already renovated. There's just nothing to do with it. It's not a rental. It's not a flip. And as far as taking over the mortgage, it would need to be in a bigger area. And it would honestly need to be a nicer property than a 2-bed, 1-bath. 2-bed, 1-bath, not very desirable. Your seller, I think they just called me, right? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to call him back. Here we go. And phone is ringing. This is the $0 down house in San Antonio. Bro is available.
Hello.
Hey, Nathaniel.
Hey, yes, sir. That's Drew.
This is Richard. Drew is actually my assistant. He gave me this property, Tanzanite Rim, saying that you were hoping for somebody to take over the debt on it.
Yeah. Thanks for giving me a call.
Yeah, absolutely. How's your day going today?
Not too bad, man. Just I work in Austin. It's blazing hot out, but other than that, not too bad.
Oh,
What about
cool.
you?
So this is not your primary residence then. Is this a property you moved on from?
It's not mine. I'm actually calling on behalf of my parents, who I can get on the phone if you need to. But I've already let them know I'm looking this direction just to kind of see what might be available. So if you need them on the phone, I can maybe add them to the call.
What do you think? You think that'd be valuable? I'm happy to have a conversation. Are they familiar with what we're kind of offering here, or you think we should run them through this from scratch?
So they're familiar with it. I've kind of brought the concept up in the past, but the issue was for a little while, they used to have a lot higher interest rate. It was like pushing 8%, and I didn't think that was viable for anybody to take over that debt. But anyway, they've refinanced, and they kind of got a little bit lower payment, a little bit better position on it, but still nothing that they want to hold on to. So we've kind of talked about it in the past, but I can speak on their behalf. They're wanting to do what they can just to kind of get out from underneath it. So
sure. Well, maybe initial conversation is just between you and I, and then maybe we bring in mom and dad a little bit later if we're able to make something that makes sense happen, essentially.
Yeah, that works for me.
So I guess my first question is always this, because this is the standard way to get rid of the house. Have they thought about listing it on market with a realtor?
No.
Interesting. And why not? Because that's such a normal thing to do here.
Yeah, they're kind of, they know they're kind of upside down in it. It was one of those things where they bought a couple years ago at a little bit inflated price. Interest rate wasn't great just because of the credit situation that they were in. They still qualified. They were just not, in the best position. But so they've been paying it down the last couple of years, but their property value has also come down, a couple of tens of thousands of dollars. So they're kind of still right where the house is worth as far as what they owe on the mortgage. And they're, at this point now where if they sell, they're not in a position to cover closing costs and anything else that they might have to come out of pocket for, just because they're going to be losing money on it. So
right.
That's kind of why I reached out on this behalf. I mean, I've been following your content for a while, and trying to do this thing, but I'm also trying to run my own service business out here as well. So it's been a lot, but yeah. So you're familiar with the situation. They can't really do a lot without putting a lot of money into the house or losing a bunch of money selling it this second.
Now, are they occupying it right now, or is this vacant?
It's occupied. It will be vacant at the end of the month.
Oh, they're moving.
So this is basically a rental property for them.
Oh, I see.
The current tenants destroyed their house. They've lived in it for the last couple of years, and it's just inside. It needs some work now. I mean, they had dogs and stuff when they weren't supposed to, and it's mostly floors and some paint, other cosmetic touch-ups, maybe some yard work and stuff like that. The bones are good. I mean, I don't think anything is wrong with foundation or HVAC, anything like that. It's just a kind of a trashed house for the second. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. How bad would you say it is? Like, is it just kind of scuffed up LVP, or is it just like really, really needing paint and floors on the interior, like chips in the walls and maybe holes in the drywall, whatever it may be?
I think it would need like just some wall patches, not really like big holes, but just like from hanging stuff and pulling stuff out of the wall. So it's not like a complete gut. I don't think. Floors for sure, just because animals and stuff like that. I don't know what they did inside the house, but I know they had animals in there when they weren't supposed to at one point. So my parents wanted to just, take up all the floors, treat it, and then put new flooring back in. But aside from that, and then there's like one piece of drywall up in one of the spare bedrooms that my parents actually cut out for, they had a leak somewhere. There was a water line leak that they cut out and replaced. Had all that, mold mitigation and all that done. So that's taken care of, but it will need to be put up and painted.
Okay, sounds minor.
Yeah, I think my dad's been in construction for like 50 years now. He's more on the corporate side of things now, but he walked the property, and he's thinking somewhere between like $10,000 and $13,000, like to get it like really nice and presentable for like whether it's renting or selling or whatever else it is. So, and that's like, you know, all floors throughout the entire house basically, and then just, you know, a lot of paint. That's pretty much what needs to happen.
Got it. Okay. Do you happen to know what they had it rented out for? Because I'm just trying to figure out exit strategy here. It does have 5 bedrooms, so maybe it will rent out for more than what the mortgage costs here. But I'm kind of curious if you know mortgage cost and then what they might have had it rented out for previously.
Yeah, mortgage on it currently is like $258. Their payments on it are like $2,600. That area is a little tough. The rent doesn't go for like great numbers out there. I think they were talking to realtors, and for that size house, I think they can get like $2,200 or $2,300 a month in that area.
Okay.
And they were fine keeping it for a little while, you know, in a negative cash flow for just a little bit until they could refinance or do whatever they wanted to do kind of in the future, but they're just not in a position to do that anymore. So yeah, payments $2,600, but their interest rate is at like 6.5%. I don't know if anybody can do better these days right this second, but
sure. So I think it's a feasible exit here. I mean, I'm sure you're already familiar with it, but what I do is, San Antonio is huge. Like I think your metro population is like 1.5, maybe 2.5 million people. Like lots and lots of people live there, and there is somebody right now hiding under a rock somewhere that really wants to buy a house, but can't jump through the qualification hoops for whatever reason. Not necessarily somebody who's like had a bankruptcy or has terrible credit, but maybe they don't have a job for a long enough period of time. Or we also have a lot of people who have immigrated who may not have the proper citizenship requirements to get an FHA loan or a conventional loan. So they may be perfectly bankable for it, but just can't qualify for one of these houses. And this is a perfect solution for them. I mean, I kind of act as the liaison between somebody who's in your parents' shoes, who's going to lose money on the sale. Seemingly, if the realtor takes 6% and the seller asks them to do, or the person who buys it asks them to do some repairs, some concessions, maybe they have to come out of pocket like $20,000. So it's the biggest headache in the world for your parents, but some other person sees this as a massive opportunity to control real estate that they otherwise would not be able to own. So essentially what I would do here is I'm not looking to buy a rental property that doesn't cash flow. That's why I was asking. I'm like, well, maybe I could take this off your hands for a low down payment. Maybe that would make sense to me. But I'm always looking for cash flow and good interest rates. So the clear candidate to buy this is a retail buyer. And what I would say is I'm kind of like a fast acting realtor. I leverage my following to find somebody in San Antonio who wants to move into the house. And I say, hey, I can get you this house for $3,000 or $4,000 down. And they're like, $3,000 or $4,000 down? What do you mean? And I say, yeah, that's my fee. You give me $3,000 or $4,000 and you own this property and you can take over the debt and step into the ownership of the property. And they'd be super excited about that opportunity, even if it does need some minor wear and tear or some minor fixes from some wear and tear. So what I'm thinking is, if your parents were able to pay the closing costs, it might make the potential buyer a little bit more interested in taking over this debt just because of some of the condition things that you've talked about. If it were in perfect condition, I'm thinking we could get the buyer to typically pay the closing costs. But in a scenario like this, I would probably say we need to find somebody to step into your shoes for truly $3,000 to $4,000 down, meaning $3,000 to $4,000 goes to me as my fee for connecting you guys. Your parents don't have to pay that. The buyer will pay that. But I would probably ask that your parents pay the $6,000 in closing costs given the condition, assuming that they're looking to lose like 15 or 20 if they sold this thing conventionally.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that I don't think is unreasonable. They can come out of pocket some money, but it's just, they wouldn't be able to swing, like you said, the conventional closing costs. So, I don't mind something like that. I'm not an expert in this field, so I'm just kind of trying to put some last minute things together for them to help them get out from underneath it. So
Sure.
I appreciate you at least, give me kind of a little rundown on all this stuff as well.
Yeah, somebody wants this, man. Somebody wants to move in this. This is a life-changing opportunity for somebody somewhere, and chances are that person will see my video or my post that I make about this property, just given the nature of the following being exclusively for real estate professionals or people who are looking to buy property. So I also run a community of people where I literally teach them how to find sellers who are in your shoes so that we can take over their debt for $0 down. Because how unbelievable of a solution. You can get a property for like $0 out of your pocket. It maybe a headache to them, but as I said, it's an amazing solution for a person who's unable to buy their own house. So yeah, I would say this. I would opt for a 1 week period of time in which where I try to find that buyer. And the offer that I'd have for your parents is we take over the debt as it stands now, but they pay the transfer costs to the next person who buys it, which would be about $6,000. That way the person can truly get into the deal for $3,000 to $4,000 down, which is important in this scenario, largely because I have to pitch them, hey, yes, $3,000 to $4,000 down, but you might be looking at that $13,000 in rehab that we discussed.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
that makes sense.
What I would say is I could text that to you, and this is our first initial conversation. And I'm sure your parents are like, well, you've probably brought us an online scam, so maybe we should look into this a little bit deeper. And then we should probably have a conversation with everybody on the phone. Not necessary, but if they want to, we can. I'll just text you over the offer that I have. And it is important to note that I'm not the buyer. I'm the wholesaler in this scenario. So I can't say with definitive that I can't definitively say, yes, I'm going to find you a buyer for this situation, but I can try my best. And I've done 2 in the past month in very, very similar situations. And this is a big city. So I'd say we have a pretty strong shot at it.
Okay. Yeah. No. Any info you need from us, so we're pretty transparent people. Like I said, I've seen your content, and you're spamming all of your receipts and stuff like that. So I have no reason not to trust that you know what you're doing. So, but no, truly, I just appreciate the time, and I think if you just relay that info to me, I can send it to them. It might be worth, if there is a buyer that maybe shows some interest, just setting up a quick phone call with them to kind of just walk them through how that works.
Sure. Yeah. Now, I can't legally market a property in Texas unless I have a purchase and sale agreement. I will say the purchase and sale agreement, whenever I reach out to an individual in this situation or vice versa, I can write into the purchase and sale agreement that if they decide to go a different direction during the week that we are looking for a buyer, I'm not going to hold them to this. At the end of the day, I'm making $3,000 to $4,000. And my biggest value add here is that I can show other people that I got a house for $0 down from the seller, because then they know that they can do it themselves. So I'd say it's not really a monetary thing for me. And if they decide to go in a different direction, totally fine. But I love the proof of concept of getting another one of these done. So if they're open to it, I can send them a purchase and sale agreement. The only thing that I need to let you know about this sale is that when you sell a property subject to the existing mortgage, or you add somebody to the ownership, you hold the mortgage in your name. And that's the key. That's the downside here. You're holding the mortgage in your name. So what does that mean? Well, it means that if somebody misses payments on this thing, that impacts your credit score. So if we were to find another buyer who wants to take over this position here, we would structure it such that while we don't want this to happen, if the buyer misses 2 months of payments, we are going to have them forfeit their right to a foreclosure before ever entering into this agreement, so that your parents can reclaim the property and make up the missed payments in the event of that happening. Now, what I will say is, when somebody takes over your debt in this scenario, your credit score is offset, just as it would be when they had it as a rental property, allowing them to qualify for additional loans. So yes, they can qualify, but the big downside here is, okay, sure, you cannot lose as much money as you would traditionally lose, but if somebody misses payments, that's on your credit score. So we need to structure it such that, hey, this person who enters into this arrangement with your family, they agree to forfeit their right to a foreclosure so that your parents could quickly reclaim the property if this person is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Now, with that said, we will check their credit score. We will make sure they haven't gone through a bankruptcy. We will make sure they have enough money in terms of income to make these mortgage payments. And hopefully, if their desires are aligned with ours and they just want to live in the property, that'll never end up happening.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's something we got to let you know about, because if we go through this deal and your parents are like, great, we paid off my mortgage, it's done. And then they look on their credit score, they're like, wait a second, what? Why is my mortgage so good? That's something that we have to let you know about.
Okay, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, and they they're somewhat familiar with how this goes. I think it's more so the right now the financial hardship on carrying their house plus another at this point.
For sure.
Just because tenants are going to be moving out, and so yeah, it's just messy. But yeah, that's send me over the info. I can briefly kind of I can give them a good. They understand what's going on.
I recorded this call. Do you want me to send you this phone call and you can listen to it, and then you can write down any, because I can write out like a massive email about this, but it might be easier to just hear my exact pitch. I can download this call, text it to you. Y'all can listen to it, and then you can come back with any questions you may have.
That would be awesome, actually, if you're able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can totally download this call and send it to you.
Okay. Yeah, do that. I'll forward it along to them, and then I don't know if you need like an answer right away today.
No. Most of the time that this happens, somebody's like, I don't know if I want to hold the mortgage. I didn't know about that part. And then 3 months down the line, they're like, oh my God, this payment is killing me. And then they call me back, and then we do the deal then. So there's no timeline whatsoever. Take as long as you need.
Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, send me that. I'll send it to them, and then I will keep in touch. Can I get a hold of you at this number here, or is there a different number?
This is my office line that records the calls just for training purposes for the other people who want to do the same type of thing. But I'll text you from my personal cell phone number immediately after this, and we'll have the phone call recording there.
Perfect. All right, man. Well, I really appreciate your time. If you need anything else from me, just let me know. But for now, I'll forward this info along and kind of just see what they're wanting to do.
Great. Yeah, I'll send you that call recording, and we'll go from there. And I'll save your information in my phone. And feel free to call me anytime on my cell phone, which you'll get a text from here shortly.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Great. So that sounds good. I mean, I don't. So here's the thing: putting LVP in a house and fixing some drywall ain't $13K. That's like $4 or $5K, if that. And that's like all new LVP and doing a lot of paint as well. So I don't think that you're looking to do that much work in the property. I think it's great that we offered them to. We said, hey, you should pay closing costs on this, because then what I can do is I can say, hey, we've got this house for true, and I give it to somebody for 2 or 3 or 4K down. Then you've got a house, you're not paying closing costs. You truly own the house for 3K down. And where's the 3K going? Me, I'm getting it for that call, bro. I'm connecting you with the seller, and you're buying the house, and they're paying the closing costs, and it's 3K. Right. And then, you've got to put some LVP in it. Do the work yourself. Laying LVP is super easy. You'll literally pay $200 in LVP. Right? Put in a little paint, you'll pay $50 in paint. This is very easy stuff. So, yeah, the point here is this solves the housing crisis, man. There are so many sellers in this situation. I tell you, and I don't know if you think it's marketing or if you think it's real, but I tell you, this happens to me every week. It does happen every week, guys. It's literally every week. And yeah, it's a 5-bed, 2.5 bath, 2,300 square foot property in San Antonio that needs a small amount of work, and you don't have to qualify for the loan. So a lot of people are kind of like, well, what about the qualification? As I said, they hold the mortgage. They transfer the title, they hold the mortgage. You're the owner of the property without qualifying for it, which is the craziest part. Imagine if I were living in San Antonio and I wanted to buy a house. I just got a house for $0 down, and I truly mean $0 down. No closing costs. No closing costs, bro. You understand? Not like $0 to the seller and then closing costs. $0 down. And I could just live in that house, and it's not on my debt to income ratio or my credit score, because it's on their credit score, which we told them about. And they're often okay with it, as I said, because they're holding 2 mortgages right now. So, this scenario exists with houses with 3% interest rates and 4% interest rates. But this is a 6% interest rate, and it's not a good interest rate. But the key here is what I said before the call. When you buy a property versus rent a property, you create generational wealth. Now, this property is worth about $275,000 in San Antonio right now. What is it going to be worth in 30 years? Well, what was it worth 30 years ago? Probably like 60K. Right? What's it going to be worth in 30 years? Probably like 750 to $1 million, right? So the thing about that is you're already paying the same amount monthly. He pays $2,600. How many people here pay $2,600 in rent? Oh, yeah, 5.5 bedroom house, right? Five bedroom, 2.5 bath, right? That's a decent number. So they're paying $2,600 to own this property, but you could own the property, and then in 30 years when it's fully paid off, because you're already making that payment, you're not investing more money if you're already spending it. You're just shifting that payment going to rent, which is flushing the toilet just so that you can stay alive, versus to a mortgage, which is building equity over time. The property goes up in value, you pay it down in value, and then one day when you're 40 years old, instead of having spent $300,000 in rental payments, if not more than that, probably more than that, you have a property that's worth $750 to $1 million, and now there's no mortgage on it, and you can sell that property and live off the proceeds, or more importantly, you can transfer it to your next of kin, and now they have a paid off property. You know the kids who are like, "Oh, I inherited a property from mom and dad. What do I do? It's $1 million." This is how you get into that scenario. Now, that scenario doesn't happen unless you have existing funds from your family, or you just killed it in something and you make a lot of money and you can afford that property and transfer generational wealth. But this is something that you don't need money to do. Anyways, I got all these people in my chat like, how do I learn this? How do I learn this? How do I learn this? I talk about it in Hold My Hand Wholesale, but I talk about it more specifically and really laser focusing on this topic alone um, in um, in American Dream Project. So I had so many people asking, "Hey, I really want to learn how to get houses for free, like you just showed that we could on the phone, for 6039 Tanzanite Rim in San Antonio, Texas." That's the address of this property that we just called on, and all the other addresses that you've leaked throughout the years. And I really want to learn how to get houses for free. I don't want to learn how to wholesale. I don't want to flip. I don't want to do rentals. I don't want to do all this other stuff that you talk about. I just don't want to rent anymore. I would rather live in a property that I can build equity with. Well, we started a community for that, and there's like very little members in it. It's very small. It's called American Dream Project. How many members are in it right now? Let's find out. 60. We have 60 members. There's 60 members in it. It's not part of Hold My Hand Wholesale, and we exclusively talk about it. We exclusively talk about it here. Now, why am I letting this overlap into Hold My Hand Wholesale? Well, I'm going to wholesale this. I'm gonna wholesale this, and I'm gonna make money off of it, just as I did with the other two that I just wholesaled. And it's important to know about this as a wholesaler, because you have an exit strategy here. You've got an exit strategy as a wholesaler, and your exit strategy as a wholesaler is collect a 7K check. Will this one sell for 7K? No. Why won't it sell for 7K? Well, 6.5, 250K, not a super desirable property. Right. But what does sell for 7K? Arizona that doesn't need any work. Where can I learn? Well, if you click the, it'll say American Dream Project. It's like the third or fourth link. You can show up there. We have a new member onboarding call in about 19 hours from now. You can also take all of the courses that we have in there. But yeah, it's just the link in my bio, or you can do school.com/American Dream. Anyways, that is one of my acquisitions calls for today. I mentioned to the seller that I would go ahead and give him this phone call recording so that he can listen to it with his family and see if it's something that he wants to do. So I'm going to download this. And then I'm going to throw this into, well, I can put it in Hold My Hand Wholesale too if you guys want it. Why can't I see my recent contact details, timeline, download? Okay, there it is. And now I need to send the seller a text from my cell phone, as I said. Okay. Bear with me. Looking for the phone number, Nathaniel. Hey, thanks for your time. This is Richard Taylor. And then I'm going to add them to my contacts. Now, when I add a seller to my contacts, I've always talked about this. I think it's important. And we actually have a buyer for my last deal in this stage. This is great. Jason, stay on because we'll talk to you about your role in these. So we just got a house for truly $0 down. Now, you know how I talked about how this overlaps into Hold My Hand Wholesale? My buyer for my last 2 mortgage takeovers at $0 down jumped on my stage. And, you know, he buys these things and he has a very interesting strategy that he does with them. And he may be interested in this. I'm not really sure. But it's just it's really cool. It's really cool because you know how much he's paying me for the last 2 he bought? $14,000. This person says I don't see the link for American Dream. It's in my bio, but beyond that, you could also just look up this. school.com/American Dream. Isn't that a good name? Kind of the American dream to own real estate. And I can pin that. Here, I'll pin this for you. Pin this comment. SKOOL.com/American Dream. But we'll talk to my buyer here shortly. I don't know if he'll buy this one, but it would be cool if he did. I mean, hopefully. And then we're going to do seller. Now we need to send this guy. We briefly need to send this guy the recording. And then I need to go ahead and throw the recording into Hold My Hand Wholesale because I know that you guys will want to listen to this a later date too. So here's your recording. Here's our call for you to listen to. And then I'm also going to throw it into my makeshift CRM, which is literally just a tracker sheet that I have on Google Docs. I don't know what's going to happen with this deal. I'm not going to try to predict it, but it did sound like we're going to get something done here. I love that he's listening to my call rather than an email because then you get to hear my character and you start to build a picture of me in your mind, and it just helps a lot. I think I'm about to make $200,000 from a lawsuit. And that's what these calls are about. And I'm kind of excited. I can't talk about it, but I'm excited. Lawsuit money's great. I won my last lawsuit. Into my second one. I tried to do a third one, but it fell apart in mediation. But this right here might be something. I think I might have like a big case where the company settles rather than actually fighting it. I think that I've caught them red-handed doing something really bad. And I think that they're going to give me a big settlement check. Okay. So what's going on? God, I need a new phone. I can't believe how slow this is. Look, it just freezes. It just freezes constantly. Look at that. Isn't that unreal? Gosh. Okay. All right. So offered 0 down and they pay closing to take over debt. Okay. Now we are joined by our buyer for the last deal, Jason. What a convenient time for you to appear. How are you?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. You hear the call we just had?
I just got in on that, but I was listening to your story, and I just have a similar thing that I'd like to share with you, and then I got to kind of get back into it. But I am very interested if you have Phoenix property, you know me. So yeah, please send me that info. If you got like 5 minutes, I know I talk a lot, but that whole free property strategy thing, I just landed one in Grants Pass, and I'd like to share it.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. And if you're open to buying these in San Antonio, I think I just got one where the seller will pay the closing costs. So your total cost of buying this house, Jason, I mean, hell, $2K.
All right.
So if you're
like Richard knows my little strings, yeah, send it, dude. Send it, absolutely.
Well, we haven't got it under contract yet, so we just talked to the seller, but But because Jason and I are doing so much good business together, I give him this for 2K. He gives me two. He get
I'm not passing that up.
dude. He'll pay the closing costs, and
Oh my.
it's got a so it's a 5-bed, 2.5 bath, 2,300 square feet. It's not 4.3, it's 5, 2.5, and they'll pay the closing costs, and I give it to you for 2K to take over the debt. And he says, well, you might need to switch out some LVP and do some patches where we nailed photos into the wall. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
What a disaster.
Yeah, what a terrible rehab. But I leveraged that to get them to pay all of the closing costs.
Oh my God, that's so great.
But yeah, I'll send it to you. But I should probably wait until it's under contract before I send it to you. So tentatively, something like this could be available. I'll let the seller know, hey, we might have somebody who's interested if they sign a contract.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Anyway, I was shopping around Grants Pass. You guys know, or at least I talk a lot. I like trees, and I'm from Bend. I found this 7.7 acre with a well. Utilities are on site. Family member passed away. The kids don't want it. So I went down and I did the planning due diligence, and they're allowing me to switch lots. The total price is $175. Sean, the owner, is willing to take a deferment until January 1st on the down payment. I've already got 2 buyers, so I'm going to switch the lots into 3 2.5 acre lots roughly. And I've already got 2 buyers that just want the bare land, and I'm going to make a little over, was it 140, 150, so almost 300,000 on the deal. So if I want to keep a lot and build, I'll have that done before January 1st and pay him his down payment. So I heard your story on getting free stuff, and it was just a phone call. I just found some dead property over there because I want to do a construction to perm or something similar, and build myself a house and get over on that side of the mountain. And this deal just couldn't have been any sweeter. I was probably looking at about 250 for acreage that way in Grants Pass area. And with the seller, all he wanted to do was, I really just need 100K so I can build my own house on my property. And I was like, well, let's work on that. What do you need, and when do you need the 100K? By January 1st. And then he mentioned that the lot was dividable, but he didn't know the extent of it. So I called planning, which I'm pretty good at, and they're divided into 3 2.5 acre roughly lots. And I was like, cool. And that is a cost, but it's not much, it's not much to get petitions. So very, very low for me to grab it. But I was sitting there messing around, talking with some of my buyer buddies, and they already went and found me a buyer. They want to live on that property too, or sell it or do whatever. And I can get, with no well, no power, no nothing, bare land, 150K a pop. 145 was the offer, and I said I need 150. He only 77. So when you free land, things like that, when you know how to look at partitions or subdivisions, dividable land, things like that, sometimes it works out really well. And it was just funny. I literally just closed this deal right before I got on to listen to your story. So,
dude, this is exciting. This is really exciting. That's great.
It's stuff like that is just great. So I've got myself 2.6 or 2.7 acres, which is more than enough for me because I'm downsizing. I just want to be in the trees and live my hermit life as it is. But I want to set myself over on that side of the mountain. So I was looking at Grants Pass, and this property just came in hand, and the ability to sell 2 different lots before I even have a down payment due, and the seller is willing to wait till January 1st to get his 100K for his deal, but it's the total price 175. Well, I'm going to have 300,000 in the next couple months, so I can pay him off and then have my 5% down payment for my construction to perm, and I'm building my bitchin' ass house on 2.7 acres for like very little out of pocket.
Dude, that's super dope. I've
like this that you explain is just phenomenal.
Thank you, bro.
I love how you got the American dream going thing. I'm full into it, man. I like to see winners, and I like to see people grab these deals for and really make something for themselves. So, man, it's fun. What you're doing, Richard. It's right down my wheelhouse, and I love it. So,
Well, I'll see if I can lock this up and see if we can get a deal done. This one would be crazy because you wouldn't have any you wouldn't have closing costs. You'd literally wire in 2K and you get a house, which is unbelievable.
I'm not going to argue with you. So,
so we'll see.
send it, baby.
Let me see if I can lock it up.
Let me have it.
I told them I got a potential buyer. I'll see if I can lock this thing up. I gotta do one more acquisitions call, and then I gotta speak with the buyer here, guys. But don't worry, we'll have lots of time for questions today. Side note that's not real estate related. I bought myself you guys know this. This is not sponsored content, by the way. I'm gonna call on that right now, Yusuf. I bought myself a Ninja Creamy. Have we heard of this? It's I've seen them online a lot. And I was like, okay, it's gonna taste like protein powder. Protein powder is gross. And dude, I made one today or last night and blended it today with Fairlife milk. Oh my God. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. We're talking like 250 calories for 45 grams of protein and it has no sugar in it. And it's like literal ice cream. Oh my God, I'm just so hyped. That was why I was late today. I was 20 minutes late today because I was blending my ice cream. How can I get one-on-ones with you? You can book me for a link in my bio. Oh, what type of protein did I use? Right, because I'm super sensitive to these chemical flavors. I used raw milk and cookies. I used raw milk and cookies, not raw milk. I'm not talking about unpasteurized milk. I get it. It's bacteria. Gross. I'm talking about the protein brand raw with milk and cookies. I went on Reddit and I looked for the best non-chemical tasting protein powder, and people consistently say raw, the brand by Sebum, milk and cookies, and it's insane. It's insane. Any updates on Pinehurst? Yeah, the appraisal came in low, and I think we should lower our fee because of it, Omar. But I'm still working on it with Lexi. Anyways, let me jump into another call here. That call is posted, by the way. If you want to listen to it, it's posted. What do you do? I make money through real estate, and I'm not a realtor. I wholesale. Best zip in Detroit. Honestly, it's not the best one. Just avoid 48205, 48204, 48207, and 48203. 4820 zip codes kind of suck because they're on the east side, but anything on. All right, you're not available. Let's jump into the next one.
Your call.
Damn, ain't nobody available. Holy shit. When did we speak to Harry? Harry was called at 2:18. That's almost an hour. It's almost been an hour. We're 15 shy. 15 shy. Oh, there he is. There he is. The man, the myth, the legend. He's right here. How convenient. He just joined my stage, the seller. Harry, what's going on? I was gonna give you a call about the. It's been 47 minutes since we spoke.
Well, I try my best to underpromise and overdeliver, so that 13 minutes is.
Okay. So Harry, I was just the call. Sorry.
Having me on the stage.
I like this. I like this. This is great. Great. The call I just had with I was trying to make a call before I called you. I'm trying to get this guy to give me feedback on our live stream about your deals. I sent you some of his representatives' feedback, and it said solid property overall. And then for the duplex, I think he has some questions about the conversion you're doing, but I'm hoping that we can get a go ahead on both of them. I don't know what sort of concessions, if any, they're going to ask for, but that call should happen today. And if you have more, we can discuss those as well. So what do you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So in general, right? Just for your listeners and also for your knowledge, most sellers are selling because they want to get rid of the headache, or it's distressed, or they're in out of state. distant owner and they just want to get rid of the headache. Whereas I'm a seller with the capacity to do repairs. I have teams going at all times. So usually when a seller wants concessions, it's like, hey, just throw us the $1,000 or $2,000 and we'll take care of it ourselves. You know? I'd rather just do the repairs. So I'm sure Jack has been clear about that as well. There is a new property that I am bringing to your attention today. I didn't bring it to your attention earlier because it's a really good property. It had some city violations that I believe we just cleared, like the inspection was today. And unless I knew for sure that they were going to be cleared, then it just wouldn't have been a worthwhile conversation. The address is 4019 Newark.
Okay. 4019 Newark. Okay, this is Cleveland. Gosh, I don't know what is this Cleveland's rental or is this Zillow's rental site right here? I guess I'm not showing my screen. Let me show up my screens.
If you type it in, it'll show our rental listings.
A rental listing. I love the normal Zillow view, but that's okay. Okay, this is a 4.2 duplex, 1,500 square feet, correct?
Yes,
It says townhouse, but really just renting a unit.
that's correct.
Okay.
I am interested to see how the calculation is affected because there's only one occupied unit.
Really quickly, guys, I just have to ask my viewers about this. Guys, is the American Dream Project not showing up in my link tree as it is showing up in my link tree here? It says Hold My Hand Wholesale American Dream Project. Is that not showing up? It's not? The link tree on. Hey Andrew. Oh shit. Can somebody confirm that for me? Oh man. I'm so sorry, Harry. I'm so sorry. Technical difficulties. This is destroying my marketing. Just people are telling me my entire link tree is down. Guys, is this happening? No link tree on Instagram? Oh, terrible. I'm so sorry, Harry. My apologies. This is not what I wanted to have happen right now. So Instagram and TikTok is down. Not on either one.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available.
Terrible. Terrible. I got to tell my editor about this really quickly. All right, guys, I'm sorry about this. I will pin the links. This is not what I wanted to have happen, but Instagram constantly tries to suppress me, and so does TikTok. But I'm gonna pin these for Hold My Hand Wholesale. Hold My Hand Wholesale is www.hmhw.group. That's Hold My Hand Wholesale, and then for American Dream, school. I'm sorry for the interruption, Harry. It's my sales funnel. My sales funnel is down. It's just like, damn, why am I even live streaming?
Yeah, you got to do that.
Oh, and then guess what? Instagram just cut my audio off. Instagram just muted me again. Ooh, I'm trying to keep it together, guys. I'm trying to keep it together. Crazy work. If that happens again, Instagram, we can't go live on here. So sorry, Harry. We've got your address pulled up here. Massive suppression on all platforms because we talk about things that
help people escape the rat race.
Yeah, I wish I understood why this was a problem to talk about. Oh, wait. I think I know. Because Harry, if people know how to escape the rat race through real estate, then they can't go in debt on their credit cards, and then the credit card companies can't get massive amounts of interest payments. I'm figuring it out. Anyways, so tell me about this house. What are you trying to do with it?
So first of all, I just want to let you know up front, I don't know how this is going to go. It comps for a lot higher than I think a buyer will pay, but I do have a bottom line price that still makes the conversation, I think, worthwhile. This is it's a fourplex in an area. It's just outside of a booming area. So when I stay in Cleveland, I stay about a 4-minute drive away from this place. This is like the next zip code over. So, ideally a buyer, this is an appreciation play. It's also a cash flow play. So, 4 units right now. 1 unit is occupied with a lifetime Section 8 tenant. They're fine. They're good. They've been there forever. There's the other 3 are vacant and they're listed for rent. I couldn't really rent them out before today because it had city violations that I needed to clear. So the buyer actually will know that they're buying a property with permanent electrical, permanent plumbing, permanent HVAC. So all the guts of the house are basically in as good of condition as they could possibly be in. And then, I really just need some light touch-up work, which would take a couple days, but someone can view this property this week if they're interested in purchasing.
Okay, perfect. Well, I can definitely send a buyer there. And, I think as far as the appreciation and cash flow, they really only care about the cash flow on this. So I get it. These properties appreciate over time, but I think the reason that they only care about cash flow is that this property and others similar to it in Cleveland, they just don't really appreciate over time. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. There's a record of a sale of this property in 1974. There's one in 2000, 2001, 2018, and 2021. And if there's no forced appreciation and we just ride natural appreciation, the amount that this person purchased it for in 1974, that's more money in present value than they actually paid. They paid more money in present day value in 1974 than the house is worth today. So let's say they paid $40,000 to $50,000 in 1974, and now the house is worth whatever you're trying to sell it for. Chances are the 40 to 50K in 1974 is worth more in present day value than the actual value of the property. So for that reason, these buyers, they only care about the difference between the mortgage and the rent on this. So I'm going to have to evaluate this the exact same way as we would evaluate all of the other ones. So am I correct in understanding 1 out of 4 units is rented Section 8?
Yeah. So I completely understand the cash flow. And the amazing thing about the cash flow in general is that it allows you to get an unlimited number of DSCRs, right? With whatever standard down payment. Whereas something that doesn't cash flow, as your whole strategy is based around, you have to come up with way more cash or do something creative. So, like I said, I think this could appraise for 300K based on comps. Fourplexes are also a little wacky. There's just not a lot of fourplexes to use to comp. I know I'm not going to get that price, but there is a price that I have in mind that I think would work. I'm curious how the numbers look on your side. So
it's such a simple calculation. We'll jump into this. So guys, I'm sharing my screen. We have the seller with us now. We're just going to see if we can come to a deal on this that makes sense to both of us. And honestly, when I say makes sense, I literally just mean 20% cash on cash return. So we'll go ahead and run it right now. What is this occupied for? Are all 4 units occupied?
There's only 1 currently occupied unit. Like I said, I could not really rent out the rest of it until today. So the 1 occupied unit is paying $1,120.
$1,120, and that's Section 8.
Yes.
What would you say we could get with fair market value? Maybe like 900 to 1,000, or do you think it'll go for more?
Yeah, fair market is 1,050.
1,050. Okay, so 1050 times 3 plus 11. What was it? 11. Sorry, guys.
It's not that clean. One of the units is a 1-bedroom unit. One of the units is a 3-bedroom unit.
I understand. What would you consider with the occupied unit fair rent to be?
For the whole property?
Mm-hmm.
With the occupied unit.
Yeah. So if you rent out the other 3, you're getting $1,050 for 2, and then what does the smaller one go for?
I would say 43.
You cut out for a moment. Would you say that one more time?
4320.
43.
4,300.
4,320. Okay. So here's how we look at this. Because it's vacant, we're going to take off some money for vacancy management, any maintenance, any utilities that we might see. We're going to multiply that by 0.8, which takes 20% off. So the 4,320, the buyer considers it closer to 4,000 or 3,456. That's 4,300 less 20%. And then we're going to subtract the mortgage payment here. So now this is about Harry's price. Harry, what do you think is a fair price for this?
What do I think is a fair price?
Yeah.
Let's start at 270.
Okay. 200.
Let's start it, and then we can talk a little bit more and see where that takes us.
Okay, I have no opinion on it until I see the cash return. I mean, I think 270. Well, I don't know. No need to guess. We'll find out. That requires a 54K down payment. So guys, 54 and then 10 for closing costs, probably about 64K. So the question is, are we getting $64,000 worth of cash flow? That is what the buyer is going to have to spend if they enter for that. And really, I haven't stacked my fee, so it's going to be a little higher than that. But we'll use a 7% rate. That's going to be $1,437. So we'll subtract the $1,437. Now it comes down to taxes and insurance. Now that's an interesting topic right there. The taxes and insurance. What do you pay for taxes and insurance on this thing, Harry?
So I like to use 2.5% of the purchase price amount to project what the taxes will be. I could pull up what my taxes are currently.
Yeah, let us know, and we'll compare it to the 2.5% model. 2.5% looks to be about right, guys. That's $6,750 per year, which is a pretty deep.
My cost basis is quite a bit lower because I bought it as a package in a renovation project. So yeah, my taxes are actually pretty steep on this. So it's annually $5,524.
That's less than you anticipated.
Well, yeah.
Do you know something I don't know? Well, the
thing is that the buyer basis.
I see. So a reassessment. Yeah. Let's use the two. I see. Okay. Okay. So we'll divide this by 12. So guys, if we're using 2.5%, multiply the purchase price by 0.025, and then divide that by 12 to get the monthly tax expense. So that's $562, which is high, guys. It's high. But these cheap markets, same thing happening in Detroit. It's going crazy. And honestly, I'll say it's worse in Detroit than it is in Cleveland. It really is. The taxes are just. Gosh, I can't imagine what they could be using that money for, given the disrepair the city is in. They collect so much damn money, and then it just doesn't go to fixing the city. I mean, like, imagine how much money parking meters get per day. Like, where does that money go? I just don't get it. I don't get it. I won't make an assumption because I don't know, but it's just crazy. You drive around Detroit and it's just potholes everywhere, wrecked buildings everywhere, abandoned houses everywhere. Yet you're taxing us exorbitant amounts of money on our property taxes, and then you're also collecting income tax and every other tax that you guys collect. And this is everywhere, honestly, but particularly bad in Detroit. Yet the city's still in massive disrepair. What could they be using all this money for? They're just making our real estate investments harder. So 560. Sorry, what?
Say it, but I'll say it.
I was talking over it. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, all I said was I typed it in the chat. I'm not going to say it live, but I'm answering your questions.
Oh, somebody says, BB, my beloved. I agree. It probably does go to, can't say it or else we'll get muted by the overlords that own all social media platforms. That's okay. All right. So where were we? We were taking the taxes, and then we're going to subtract the taxes. So I'm going to take my net rent, 3,456, not net yet, almost net. We'll subtract the 1,437. Gosh. Subtract the 1,437. And then we're going to subtract the 562. Oh, here's your buyer, Harry. Here's your buyer. And then just get your insurance for me. Hey, how's it going? Doing really well. Calling about two things. One, the thing I told you I'd call you about, the feedback on that property, and we'll talk about the next one next. But I have even more Cleveland properties for you, but I want to get through these ones first. So
Okay.
you walked 2 properties, and I don't know what you think about them, but I actually have the seller listening to this live right now, so hopefully we can figure out what to do.
Awesome. Yeah, on the 7206 Donald Ave, that's the duplex.
Yes.
Obviously a lot in progress there. Still get rehab. It sounds like it'll be a good rehab after the fact. We just want to make sure that we won't have any issues renting it out. It looks like we're kind of cutting the living room in half to make another bedroom. So we just want to make sure the layout and everything with that is going to be accommodating. It doesn't, make the space too cramped and tight for families that have like a dining room table or anything like that.
Sure.
But everything else looked good.
Sure. Absolutely. I haven't told the seller. I said, hey, if we have the buyer walk this thing before it's done, he's going to say, we need this to be done, and then we need to go check it out again. So he was expecting that.
All right. Okay,
so we'll
cool.
just revisit that when it's done. Great. And then you walked another one, and the guy said that the feedback was solid, but a couple questions there. I don't know what the total feedback was.
Right. Yeah.
1074.
On the other property, tenants look good. One of the tenants was a little bit, dirtier than the rest, and I'll be a little bit heavier to return when and if they move out. There was some gutter work and some roof work, or maybe just a new roof replacement that is kind of maybe a little bit of a pressing matter that when you're kind of looking into a little bit more.
Okay.
And then it's just some other general repairs. But outside of that, I think the scope of it was pretty good.
Okay. So roof. So you're saying it needs a new roof, or?
Well, we can, like a lot of the gutters were hanging, and then it looks like the shingles were maybe pretty worn out. So we don't know just the life expectancy of it, whether it's towards 20, 25, 30 years, or if we're sitting at like 15. But just the edges of the roof near the roof lines, near the gutters, was a little bit beat up, and we're just trying to figure out the age of it.
Oh, sure. Well, I guess I'll ask this to the seller because we have him on the line. Harry, do you know how old the roof is in the 1074 quadplex? You're muted right now, Harry, so we can't hear
you. In the 3 years I owned it, I have not replaced the roof. Outside of that, I don't know.
Guys,
Okay.
any roof leaks or any issues like that?
No, everything is pretty much fine.
Okay.
So we just want to watch just the roof gutters just because of the appraisal checking and everything, water intrusion. We don't want to have any hiccups there.
So usually, Quaid, you walk the property and then you schedule an inspection to figure out exactly what you're going to request
Correct.
of the seller. Do you want to inspect both of these, the duplex when it's done, Donald, and then this one probably in the next week or so?
Yeah, well, once they're completed.
Okay. Is Park or I'm sorry, not Parkgate. The is the one that's
I have one on 74th, and I have the one on Donald.
Is 74th mid renovation, or is that completed? I didn't.
No, that was completed. Or I thought it was completed.
I think it is.
So the one on E74th was a long-term hold, so it was not technically mid-renovation at all. It's fully occupied. The one on Parkgate is the same story. I'm not actively renovating it. It was a long-term hold triplex with 2 long-term tenants, and then we have the 3rd unit listed. So it's not like I'm working through a scope of work on these properties. They're just kind of actively chilling.
Okay.
That one, I think we're working on getting access, I believe, right? From the tenants.
Yeah, Parkgate. I think it's a triplex.
We have a meeting tomorrow at 11:45 a.m. You'll get into 2 out of the 3 units.
Perfect.
I didn't have enough time to give the last tenant a 24-hour notice. But
that's what it was. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess we'll just move to schedule inspection on the
74th,
and then we'll just wait for Donald. And then Harry, what's ETA on Donald, do you think?
I was told by the end of the week. I don't know. So maybe middle next week to be.
Okay, middle next week. So probably like Tuesday or Wednesday, schedule inspection for that, and that's next Wednesday, so a week from today.
Yeah. So my notes from today are renovation should be done by this weekend. By the way, it's been raining like every day, and there was a pretty severe storm yesterday. There's always severe storms over there, so that delayed us on some of the exterior paint. But my notes from this morning are renovation done by this weekend. So if you check it out mid next week, that should be safe.
Good. Okay, so let's just move to schedule the inspection for that one, the 74th quadplex, and then.
Oh no, that was for Donald.
Well, yeah, Donald, we're not ready yet. We'll wait for that to finish next week. But we are ready to inspect the quadplex, right?
Yes.
Quid, what do you think? You want to inspect the quadplex?
That was the 74th. Yes.
Okay, I guess just go ahead and schedule that. Let me know when, and then I'll relay that to the seller.
Well,
Okay,
I mean,
perfect.
hold on. I mean, should we because you've already seen this, so we should probably just go ahead and fix the gutters first before sending you back.
Yeah, I guess in between that, fix the gutters because that's definitely going to show up on the inspection, and then we'll see if there's anything else. I got to jump through these hoops too. I sell them my turnkey duplexes as well, Harry.
Oh yeah, no, I mean standard.
All right, Quaid, I guess just go ahead and schedule that, and Harry will work on the gutters. And then, Harry, do you think we could do the inspection on, I mean, maybe Thursday, so you can fix the gutters?
Let me get back to you on that. I'm not gonna make a promise there.
Okay. All right. He'll let us know
But-
when. Just tentatively have your inspector ready.
I'll reach out, find out availability, and then we can coordinate that.
Okay. And then I will have some more Cleveland properties for you here because we were discussing that. And then the other thing I was going to ask you about, your seller, your client who acquired 28/32 Farron in Mount Clemens, Michigan. Joseph called me 2 weeks ago and said they wanted to sell. I said we could get them 65, and they're like, no, I think we need the full amount. And I had a buyer who was interested at $75,000 to take over the existing seller finance note, meaning that they can just consider it a wash and get all of their money back. I didn't know if they ended up wanting to sell or hold.
I'm not sure. I'll have to follow up on that. Thank you for letting me know. I'll follow up with Joseph and the client on that one.
Yeah, hit up Joseph. I tried to call him, he just didn't pick up. So, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
I think Chinway.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll look into that.
All right, cool. That was all.
Okay, sweet. Awesome. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
I see you.
Cool. Okay. Well, we will inspect. I'll take some notes here just so I don't forget what we talked about. So on East 74th, inspection ? And then we will make that green. Inspection ? Inspection needs to be. And then for your one on Donald, inspect 7 days. So inspect August 18th when rehab is done. And then this one, waiting for buyer to walk units. Great. Okay. Awesome. All right. Now back to your deal. I'm sorry we got interrupted there, Harry. We were figuring out our cash on cash return. We just
Yes.
needed the insurance. Do you know the insurance by chance?
My insurance agent sent me a chart for Cleveland rates on a $5,000 deductible, which is probably on the high side. I'm happy to share that with you.
Okay.
So
Yeah, send it.
that should be real as it is. So it is low, which supports my cause. So for a fourplex, I mean, should I just share the whole spreadsheet with you?
I would estimate if I said this as an owner of fourplexes and 5 units, I would say like 175, 200 a month, but I'm feeling like you're going to have somebody for like 120, 130.
Yeah, pretty much. So this guy says 1578 for the year.
1578 for the year. Just for margin of error, we'll add a little bit to it. Yeah, it is 130. Wow. So is it cool if we call that like 160 just to be safe here?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Because that's kind of what I'm paying on mine. They're in different locations, but yeah. Anyways, I'm going to subtract the 160. So net cash flow per month on this, and I'll share my screen just so we know what the numbers are, guys. All I did, and I could redo it quickly, but I'll just tell you what I did. I took his rent, $4,320. I took 20% off. Then I subtracted my PITI, which is my monthly payment. Well, more so my principal and interest first at $1,437, and then I have subtracted my taxes of $562 per month and my insurance. Now I'm left with with this figure per month. It makes $1,297 per year. It makes 15,564, and the buyer's total cost of acquiring. I'm so sorry. We're having lovely hiccups right now. Said property is $64,000. So that return's probably good, but let's check. Wow. 24%, Harry. You're in the green. So yeah, I think we can. I think we could probably stack a bit of a fee on here, probably 5K, and seems viable. I think it's viable. Now, we're probably going to run into the same thing. They walk the property and they're like, "Well, will you fix this and this?" But I think you're probably willing to do those things.
Yes, this property is not ready to be walked today, but it doesn't need a whole lot of work. So it's like easy stuff that could take a couple of days. So if they walked it a week from today, that's probably more than enough time.
Okay. Now, in my experience, when I try to sell them more expensive properties, like kind of above 250, they're a little bit like they fuss a little bit here. I wonder if we could hit you with 265s just so we can be like, hey guys, slam dunk. We are looking at a 25+% cash on cash return here because I just ran
They
it.
have room to fuss. They have room to fuss.
I just ran it at 270. Now I'm gonna be sending it to them at 275, which will lower our
I
return.
have a question though. This might be shooting myself in the foot, but so you used their starting cost is 64,000.
Yes, at 270 with 10K closing costs.
Right. So 54,000 down payment, and then what do you have for your closing costs?
I'm sorry, did you say 264? I started at 270. Can you see my screen?
No, I see 270, but I see 54, right?
Yeah, that's my 20%.
And then you said 64 cash out of pocket. I'm assuming that's including a 10,000 closing cost.
Yeah, that's kind of what we've been seeing from deals where lenders are involved in DSCR.
Okay, I'm only thinking that 10,000 might be a little bit low for this deal size.
Right.
I don't know what's.
It could be.
standard
You're
room
right. It could be higher. It could be closer to $15,000. I don't really do DSCRs in this price range. This is kind of a high DSCR for me, but we did just do a 5-unit in Cleveland. However, I forget the price. Maybe Devon, are you in the chat? What was the price of the 5-unit in Cleveland? I forget what that was. We just did one in Cleveland, 5 units, but yeah, I would say that if we can send this to them at the price I just rented at, that's good. But I just rented at 270, so I'm hoping we can send it to them at 270.
Cool. Hey, works for me. But where I was going with that is, if throwing them seller credits helps to lower their closing costs and just less cash out of pocket.
I wouldn't do it yet because the way that they count this is not really fair. If I give them a seller credit off the back, they're just going to ask for more later. So I'm like, you know what?
Cool.
Let's give them no seller credits, and then if you ask for it, okay, then we can add them on top of it. Which chances are they will. Like I'm giving them a 5% credit on my property that I fully renovated.
Yeah, it just makes sense.
So yeah, if I lock it up with you at 265, they get it at 270, and they're able to get their 24.3% cash on cash return.
Amazing. Cool.
Great.
Yep. That's
Okay, we'll start that now, and then I'll share my screen on how to do a contract for a deal like this. And I think this is viable. I think it's viable. My only concern is it's slightly higher price point, and usually we work in the lower price points, but this is.
I just want to mention, I know that they're not buying. I don't mean to interrupt. I know that they're not buying for appreciation, but I can comp this at 300, so it should be nice that they'd be getting an instant 30K in equity.
I'll mention it.
It means something, right?
I'll mention it. Comps for 300K. Price $265,000. Aiming for $270,000 entry.
And to take it a step further, I actually have a fourplex just down the street in another zip code that comped for 500K, like a mile away.
Is it? I don't think I could sell a fourplex for 500K.
No, I'm not even suggesting to do that. But like it's a real, it is a valuable purchase any way you look at it.
For sure. And I do think that built-in equity is nice. I always think that that's a nice thing.
I will say, I mean, just, I don't know, for people listening and even for your own knowledge, like literally there's a zip code, there's a freeway, there's a railroad, and it's only within a mile. But once you cross it, rents do double, Section 8 rents double. You go from kind of being in a a gentrifying area to an area that has already been gentrified. So, you know, this is not in that area, but it's pretty wild how close you can be.
Perfect. Well, I'll get you a contract for this right here. I'll show everybody how to fill it out. It only takes a moment. It's really simple. In fact, I actually already have your identical contracts done for the other deals. I literally just need to switch the address and date. So if I take this one, which is for East 74th, guys, look how quick this is because it's the same seller, same information. And then we have to call about Pinehurst and Auburn. I got to talk to the TC. Appraisal came in low on one of these other deals.
The LLC might be different.
Oh, it's telling me here it's Cuyahoga Props LLC. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's correct. Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's the one I had. Am I saying that right? Cuyahoga?
Cuyahoga.
Good.
I have like 3 or 4 LLCs that I have stuff under. So.
Okay. Oh, Oh.
Feel special.
Right, different one. Me too. I have the same thing going on. That's why if you're ever assigning a deal and the deal is non-assignable, you could just call the agent and say, "Hey, I'm setting up a new LLC for this purchase. I need to be able to assign this deal to my LLC." And that LLC could literally just be your buyer. And I actually do that. I see people in the chat, somebody please help. Gang, I don't know how else to state this. I spend 3 hours a day live with my screen shared, and then I take questions when I'm done. Right? So I'm about to take questions here. We're about to pivot. I just have like one more call to make, and then we'll take questions. I'm showing y'all how to do the contract. We're showing you everything. So closing, we'll say closing is on the maybe the 15th is fine. What day is September 15th? What day is September 15th? Tuesday. Perfect. How do I see your screen share? Well, you can join Hold My Hand Wholesale and then show up to the live stream. I'm sharing my screen with the people in Hold My Hand Wholesale. It's www.hmhw.group. Right there. And classes every day. So I'm live streaming in here every day, but you don't see my screen share. But these people do, and we'll take questions from them when we're done. And you've got courses that break down everything that we do here. Okay. So I think this is done, Harry. I don't think we need to do anything else. This is identical to the other contracts I sent you. I just need to change the address, actually. So approved and accepted on August 10th, not the 6th. August 10th. And yes, address needs to be changed here. File, download, and then I just send this to Harry, and then we have another active contract. And one of them is about to move to inspection, and then it will move to close. Because I'm sure they'll say, well, you need to fix this and this. And he'll be like, okay, all right. And then he'll go do that. And then it will close.
And I'll do it.
And then it will close.
Cool.
And guys, if let's say I get this accepted, that's another 5. So far, I've assigned these for 21. This would put me to $26,000 with Harry.
Amazing.
You know, but we'll see what happens. I haven't actually pitched this one to the buyer yet. I need to pitch this one to the buyer, who I'll call here shortly. But is this, did you say this one was mid renovation and still needed work? What's the status on this again?
No, so Newark, I renovated it a couple years ago at this point. It had some city violations. So there's like, we need to install a handrail and like rebuild a few steps and like paint a corner of a wall. It's like small stuff, but we just have to do it. The good news is like the guts of this house is as good as it can be. We got an HVAC permit, electrical permit, plumbing permit. So like all the things that matter is like fully up to code, which is pretty cool. I only do that stuff if I have to, and in this case, I had to. So that should all be really solid information for the buyer.
Dude, Harry, I think I'm about to come into some other money here. I could tell you about this off stream, but I had a company do something really bad. I caught them doing it. A big company, big company, and they threw up their hands and said, "I'm so sorry." And I think I can get them to settle for $200,000. And I've sued before, but never a big company, only individuals. And I don't think they're going to fight. I don't think they want the publicity of this. I think they're really just going to yield and hopefully
Hey, run it by me. I mean,
I'll tell you what happened. But I can't tell you here. it's just a pretty bad thing that they did. And I honestly think they'll be willing to settle. It's pretty crazy as to what's going on here. But I'll keep you posted. It's just hopefully I can. My thought process is like, if I get 200, 300 grand, what am I going to buy? I'm going to buy occupied quadplexes in my holding company, and I will hold these things as security so that I don't get taxed on the proceeds of the lawsuit.
What market would you buy them in?
Where would I buy quadplexes if I absolutely had to? That's such a great question. That is a really good question. Where would I buy them?
I mean, we know our personal experiences. The trade-off in markets like the Midwest is you get the high projected cash flow, but then you got to be safe when it comes to weather. You know, like.
So my reservation, Cleveland's not a bad option. My reservation with Detroit is taxes are kind of bothering me in Detroit. They're kind of high right now and probably will be for the foreseeable future. But other places don't necessarily have these like great concentrations of multifamily. I might buy in Memphis. Man, it's so hard. Or I might buy seller finance deals too. I might buy seller finance quadplexes, or I might, you know what I might do? I might do big down payment seller finance quadplexes. I might hold on to the money and I might find quadplexes in better areas rather than the Midwest. And I might offer a big down payment to the seller because these don't typically sell with our buyers. But like if I went to a market, where's a nice market that I like? I like Omaha. I like Omaha, Nebraska. So I already own in Omaha, Nebraska. But if I went to Omaha, which is a mid-price point market, slightly higher than these other Midwest cities, but if I went to Omaha, Nebraska, and I looked for purely multifamily, I'd look for a slightly nicer one, not one of these like really low-end ones, and I would offer the seller a bigger down payment than we normally offer. I might look for something like, I mean, this could be okay. I'd want it to be in the slightly higher price range so it appreciates, and I might offer them like 80K down on a 300K purchase price so that I could get really nice seller financing terms off of them. But maybe something like this. I'd want it to look really nice and turnkey, and I might offer them a big down payment, and I would really make sure that thing is turnkey. But as I see this, I'm like, nope. So I'd have to do a little bit of hunting. I don't exactly know. I don't actually exactly know. I'd have to think about it.
Well, that's a fun game to play, and it's a good problem to have. So, I'm interested to hear what you end up doing. Do you still want me on?
I think I'm gonna take questions. I just have one more call to make for an unrelated thing about an appraisal coming in low, and I'm gonna go ahead and see if my TC can help me out with that. But you're welcome to stay on as long as you'd like.
Okay, I just came back from like a bachelor party. I just dropped my Instagram in the chat.
Oh, right. How was that? I remember. Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was a really good time.
Good, dude.
We stayed in South Lake Tahoe.
Oh, cool. Hell yeah.
Right on the border of Nevada, so there's some advantages to that.
Yeah, I landed in Reno and I drove there like 2 years ago for Thanksgiving. It's cool.
Sweet. All right, thanks. Chat soon.
See you later. Bye. Okay, so we got this other one. Oh, wait. I forgot to ask Harry one thing. Did he say it's ready to walk? Did he say it's ready to, how do we get around the new wholesale rules in Ohio? You just tell the agent that you're gonna create a new LLC. Not yet, but close, ready to walk. I'll text Harry. Let me know when to send them to walk. New deal. So, okay, one more call, then I'm yours for questions for the rest of today or whatever you'd like me to do. And the call is already for a student. So we have a deal. There's a student out of Egypt. He has a deal that was sold for $10,000. It passed inspection. The cash on cash is really, really good. $10,000 is life-changing money in Egypt. And the problem is the 2-bed, 1-bath appraised for like 65 and the purchase price is 67. We could probably just lower our fee by a little bit to fix this. So let me first call the buyer and Well, I'm going to call the TC and see what we need to lower to, because maybe I can do a combination, raise the price on the buyer and then lower the price on my assignment. Maybe we could do that rather than eating the whole thing. If you have a house that you're trying to sell and you own the property, submit it to the link in my bio.
Your call has been.
Well, I think we're doing questions. I'll send her a video. Okay, so here's what I think we should do about Pinehurst. We assigned it for $5K per piece, and the appraisal difference is like a couple thousand. If the difference in appraisal is like 2 to 3K, I'll just eat the whole thing on the assignment. That's fine. We'll make 7K instead of 10. That's okay. If the lender's not willing to see reason by using that 33K comp that they shouldn't have used. Alternatively, if it's like a more than a 5K gap, maybe we go down 2.5K, maybe buyer goes up 2.5K. Or I feel like we could just lower the assignment fee. I feel like we could just lower the assignment fee to make up for this gap, and it's not that big of an issue because the appraisal came in at what, 65, and we're locked up at 67? Should be fine, right? Let me know. All right. Omar, I'm trying here. I'm going to quick bathroom break. Then we're just going to do questions for the rest of today. So anybody who needs help or has questions, we'll just do questions for the rest of today. So bear with me for just a second. We quick bathroom break. I'll literally be back in like 45 seconds. Give me 45 seconds. Oh. All right. Okay. I'm playing pickleball for the first time today. I don't think I've ever played pickleball before, but I like my racket sports, so I'm going to be giving it a go. Anyways, we shall talk to Mike because he turned his camera on. Mike, what's up?
Brother, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty well today, man. I'm pretty excited about everything. How can I help? How are you?
Yes, sir. I'm hurting, bro. I did squats today, but it's all good.
Terrible.
Anyways, I sent you an address. It's from one of the students here in the community. He is trying out different VAs, and they sent him this lead. It's a fix and flip in Dayton. I don't know. I really don't know. The comps I found, I'll send them to you as well. They're kind of complicated, so I don't. It's been a while since I did a fix and flip.
Complicated. Well, this is great because this is what maybe we can sell it in real time. You have it under contract?
That's what I want to find out. So the seller, we already spoke to the seller. The VA spoke to the seller. They want 40K, and we're like, oh, well, maybe 40K is viable, but maybe we can come lower. The only thing is that we don't have pictures, so it's kind of one of those things. Where it's like, well, I got to get a feel for it, run the numbers before I ask for all this info.
For sure. Let me go ahead and I'm sorry, guys. I'm turning myself on Do Not Disturb. I'm sorry about the dings. I put it on silent. It was already on silent mode. It still didn't work. Okay. All right. So first we need to find the property. I'm going to put in the zip code onto Zillow, and then it's going to show me the map. And then I'm going to find out where this thing is on the other map that lines up with just Dayton, Ohio. All right. I think I found it. There's Riverdale and Forest Ave, Riverdale and Forest Ave. Looking, it's in that interesting trapezoid shape. Found it. And is she on, what is that, Geyer Street or? No.
It's on Brightwood.
Brightwood. That must be right here. Oh, found it. Yes. Okay. So I always like to comp in two ways, guys. I always like to comp in two ways. I like to comp it. I like to see if anything's for sale on the market for a better price than this. And dude, excellent news. Whoa. Look at this. So this is, so there's two. I like to see if you have a product that can't be acquired by anybody else. And what I mean by that is I like to see if anybody has a house for sale for less. So I look in the area and I'm like, okay, I don't see anything for 40K, and we could probably get it below that. But I do see this thing for 105K. And how does this look to you? Bad. This looks bad. And then when you go inside, the reason I said whoa is because holy shit, Umbridge lives here. Is that her name? Umbridge? Yes. Hold on, we gotta find her room. Yo, that's her room. Are you kidding me? Look at that. That's her house. You can't tell me that's not Umbridge's house, guys. Look at that. So this is the seller's house. And this is Umbridge's. Well, that's not actually from the movie. I think this is from the actual movie. It's pink, but look at this, guys. Oh my gosh. Let's go through this house. Wow. Do you think they like the color pink? It's kind of a vibe. Like I'd be kind of happy here. I'd be like, you know what? The butterflies and this looks good. Oh, but it's also distressed, and it's also for sale for 105K. And look, it needs a roof, it needs brick, it needs paint, it needs a lot, and it's for sale at 105. So now we just look at looking at this house being in distressed condition. Yeah. You're looking at this house being in distressed condition. I feel pretty good about his. Is yours a single family or a duplex?
So he says it's a duplex, but when we check it up on PropStream, it doesn't say that. It says single family.
The key there is meters, because the city will give out meters based on duplex or single family. Do you know how many meters there are?
No, I'll have to verify that for you, brother.
Now, I got the address on PropStream right here. Is it off market or on market? I don't want to leak something sensitive.
It is off market.
Can we look at it?
It's the student's lead, so I mean, yeah, it's up to your discretion. I think it's fine, bro.
If it's off market, you're fine. It's fine. Oh wait,
Yeah.
that's not the house. Huh?
That's not it.
I thought I had. Okay. Okay. All right. So guys, I'm gonna try to spot the meters. Because the meters will be the definitive answer. They probably just. I feel
Maybe
like
the street view better. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it probably is a single family and they're just using it that way. But the meters will let us know. Is that a hidden meter right there? I can't tell. That looks like 1 meter, dude. Well,
Okay.
there's two things here. I don't know. Maybe there's two. Interesting. Okay, all right. We don't have any photos. It does look like it's gonna need some pretty heavy work.
Yes, sir.
I think
agree with that.
I think it'll need some pretty heavy work.
I wasn't call him with all the info. I didn't want to just like.
But look
call
at
him blindly,
this.
so.
Look at this. Nice house next door. Really nice house. That looks renovated. That looks like it's been recently renovated. It's got some nice paint on it. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like a reason to renovate here. We just need to see, because this is going to be, I know it's going to be a big job. I know it'll be a big job, but we need to do a little bit of due diligence. I wish it weren't snowing so I could see the roof, but chances are the roof is cooked. Okay, cool. So we're right here, guys, and I'm gonna say it's a single family. I don't know my beds and baths on this. It says 3.2, 1,560 square feet. Looks a little bigger than that, given that this is also a 3.2, 1,400 square feet. But so right here are all very valid comps, and I'm just gonna remove my boundary, and I'm gonna be like, here to here to here to here. And we could go further than this, but we'll start right here. And we'll price high to low. And I feel like we should do single family. I feel like this is a single family. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it is. These guys are huge. These are different types of properties. Okay, so yeah, that's a pretty solid comp right there, but it sold in 2024. Let's do past 12 months.
That one for 165 is the one I had pulled up to.
This guy?
Yeah.
This almost looks like a
Some
new
new
construction. It's like literally looks like a new build, but it's not. Just a rehab. What'd they buy it for? This can sometimes help us. Whoa, 35. Okay, so you're pretty close to where you need to be, dude. This guy bought it for 35, but he wasn't super happy with where he had to sell it. Look at his price drops, guys.
Yeah.
He lists it for 250 after the renovation. So he buys it in 24 and then lists in early 2025 for 250 and then drops all the way to 165. Damn, he took a big haircut. So this guy probably didn't make any money on the flip, because if he bought this for 35K, I mean, I don't know how much money he had to put into it. This is not a crazy rehab, but what I am thinking is that 35K is probably a wrecked property. So yeah, you've got a pretty good ARV, but 5 beds, 3 baths, your 3-bed, 2-bath. I got to think the ARV is closer to 150K. So yeah, your pictures are important, man. Your pictures are really important. I think this is one of those ones where we should comp it with a wider range. There's also this guy, but this is kind of a different type of house. And then the only other thing I'd like to see here is I want to see what this guy's street view looks like, because we have an interesting street view, and I'd like to compare this street view to our street view. But I do think a little lower than 40 maybe. Pretty similar, actually. Not much. In fact, I kind of like mine more. This kind of looks not great. So I think this is a slightly better area. I like that the land is occupied with houses, and they look like there's a small amount of pride of ownership in these houses here. So yeah, I see it. I see that this guy got renovated at some point. I wonder if we could find out what this is. 415 Bright. What's it say? Brightwood? Yeah, 415 Brightwood. Hold on, 415. That's like a 2017 rehab. Brightwood, Dayton, Ohio. What is this thing right here? This is a comp. What did you last sell for? Somebody bought you for. Yeah, that's probably what the ARV still is, dude. This is an old one, but it still kind of lets us know where we'd be. I think your ARV is 150, and it just comes down to whether or not somebody can renovate this thing and get out of it for a profit. But this was taken in December of 2025, less than a year ago. And as I look at this,
yeah, bro, siding's cooked.
Needs a lot. I think roof of this, the roof this high off the ground with potentially snow on it during the job. Yeah, just on the outside, man. Just on the outside. Windows, roof, siding, gutters, woodwork. Roof 13, windows 8, 21, siding 7, 20. Yeah, bro, probably like at least 30 on the outside. Probably at least 30 on the outside, and that doesn't even get to the landscaping. And then as I look around the house, it looks like some of the windows are open, like potentially open to the air. So, and especially on the other side. So I saw on the other side, it looked like no window frame on one of these others, but that could just be the perspective. But this, doesn't that kind of look open to you?
Oh yeah.
I think that's open. So I feel like, dude, we're like getting close to like 80, 90 on this. I feel like maybe 80, 90. And if we buy for let's say 45 with the assignment plus 10 plus 90, I think you're probably going to sell for 150 to 160, and I think the rehab could be as much as 90 racks. But we need to see photos of the inside, and who knows, maybe since December he's done a little bit of stuff to the property.
For sure. Yeah, I obviously was not going to agree to 40K, but I did want you to take a look at it to see what you think the rehab. I was being, I guess, too nice. I thought 50K, but 90K sounds more reasonable after talking all those details. All right, brother. Well, that helps me a lot. I'll keep you posted.
The thing I'll say is a market that I see deals move faster than any other market is Columbus, Akron, Dayton. Columbus, Akron, Dayton has this immense desirability, and I don't really know what it is, but people love those markets, and also St. Louis. We don't see a lot out of St. Louis, but St. Louis flies, guys.
For sure. Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate your time, brother. We'll be in touch.
See you later. People like Memphis, Indianapolis, Birmingham's cool. I would say Birmingham's rents are pretty low and prices are a little bit higher than those areas. And then one area that I wish we could do deals in is Peoria, Illinois. Sounds pretty cool. Anyways, let's talk to our next people. Mr. Kent. Kent wanted me to do a call of sorts. Kent, what's going on, man?
So the call probably won't happen until tomorrow, but I called an agent on Saturday for duplex in St. Louis, and he sent me the rent roll, and apparently the seller is selling 3 duplexes. I text you the address of the one that I called, and per my conversation, all the units look similar as far as condition on the ones that's on the listing. The agent did say that they could use maybe some paint and some refurbishing of like the hardwood flooring. And the one that I sent you the address on, I texted over to you. They're asking $450, but the seller is willing to part ways for all 3 at $410 a pop. So 1.23 million for all 3. And I have the rent roll that he sent over to me.
Sorry, we had a noise. So on 1.2 or 1.3 for all 3 of them. Are we buying cash? Are we buying with the loan, or are we buying with seller finances?
I was gonna see if you could close this on seller finance, because I can't seem to close anything right now. And I figured maybe you could take a stab in the dark at it. Because the rent roll that he sent me, between all 12 units, it's bringing in $8,930. Some of those rents are under market, and I think only 2 of the 12 are leased out through later this year, where rents cannot be raised.
Okay.
When I had the conversation with the agent, if the buyer were to go in and do, refurbish the hardwood flooring, just kind of give it a good new finish and do painting, he said that each unit could bring in like $950. So I'm not sure how to run the numbers on this, and I don't know if it was something that you can make a call on tomorrow.
I'm sure I can. I must have missed when you said this. You say loan or creative finance?
Creative finance.
Creative finance, great, love it. That's no problem. And then one point, what would you say?
He said 1.23 million, because it's 410 per building, and there's 3 of them.
410 per building,
and
there's 3 of them.
They're more likely to sell all 3 as opposed to just one. Because I called him after work today, and he said that they want to sell all 3. The only way you can get one is if you were very close to list price. So I figured, why not see if Rich could do what he does and see if he can get all 3 locked up under creative finance. Because my understanding, there's not a note on it. He didn't mention anything of a note, but that I also haven't pitched creative finance yet either. I just said that I was going to run over the numbers with my partner, and then I can give him a call tomorrow.
I will bring you up tomorrow and we'll do that. And I got to show you something new, Kent, that might help you. Tomorrow at 1:45 p.m., remind me to bring up Kent. Okay.
1:45, that's 3:45. I can be on by like 4:20 my time. So that'd be
1:20. 1:20.
1:20.
Are you Eastern or Central?
I'm Central.
Central is 2:20 my time. Okay. So there'll be a reminder to.
Out of the shower afterward.
Yeah, there'll be a reminder to bring you up. I'll be there to bring you up. I have a reminder on my phone at 1:45, and I'll see you at 2:20. I think the guy who you sent me, I think he likes the offer. I offered him to pay closing costs. I told him to pay closing costs. Jason Ellis is interested. He just needs to, if he's interested, he'll let me know. He's gonna listen to the phone call with his parents. I recorded it. Yeah.
Did you turn this camera on?
No. But dude, you should really, really make a long form video out of my call today with the seller. It was running the whole time with the seller. It must have just dropped.
Yeah.
So you have that, I'm sure.
Yeah. No, I did. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Kent, what I was going to show you is this, dude. This is kind of changing the game for Dispo right now. Let's say you go to like Birmingham, and let's say you find the area where nice houses sell by putting in a price filter of minimum $200,000. This is not creative finance, but this is 90% of the deals that we're selling right now, Kent. 90%. So is my screen share working?
Is it like fix and flip, or
It is.
cash checking in?
It is fix and flip. So if you look at the sold properties with 200K minimum, we're going to find the good areas, and then we're going to do what we always. So that it's pretty clear where the good area of Birmingham is. This whole area right here appears to be the good area of Birmingham. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my filter, and then I'm going to click for sale, and then I'm literally just going to price low to high, and I'm going to look for something that's slightly pretty. These are too cheap of properties. Slightly pretty, needing a rehab. That's slightly pretty, needing a rehab. It's a foreclosure. What about you? You're well, yeah, I guess it's renovated kind of, but I just want to, go through our normal process to find ourselves a fix and flip. Yeah, like maybe this one right here. And I will briefly check to see if this guy has a decent ARV. So we'll zoom in. He was somewhere up here, and then we kind of already, well, the prices around here don't look great, but we'll check. It's 3.2 1860. So we want to look 3.2 1860, 4.2 20. Okay, 3.2 12. Oh, great, good. So check this out, Kent. This is the thing that might get you your first deal. This guy wants 70K. He's been on market for 17 days. Not a crazy amount of time. Roof looks newer. Interior looks like a cosmetic rehab. Scrape the ceilings, scrape the walls. Slightly more than cosmetic, actually. But yes, valid rehab, actually. Valid rehab. I think it's a good rehab. Brick, so probably not too many issues with structural. But check this out, Kent. This is the game changer. Oh, zoom in here. So we just dropped this. If you were to go to control panel and you go to buyers list and you search up the address, this is my Dispo team is doing this right now. And guys, when I tell you how many deals we're moving, like fix and flips, it's absolutely insane. So I'm going to click search and check this out. So what it's done, it shows me the flipper who bought my neighbor's house. This guy right here, 7 flips. Last flip purchased in March. He's flipped 7 houses in the past year. And if we look this up, we can see if an LLC actually acquired it. Look at that. An LLC actually bought the property. Looks like he likes duplexes. That might be valuable information. But this guy acquired the property. He's buying in the area. We can grab his contact information right here, and we can just give him a call. And what's the craziest thing in the world, Ken, is that it shows me how many flips they're doing. It shows me the addresses that they flipped, and I can reference them on the phone. So I could get this thing under contract. I could have my proven comps with me. So we just glanced at this thing, and this property right here appears to have comps for like 180,000 plus. Why plus? Because, well, this thing's significantly smaller. So it seems like we're going to sell for like maybe $200,000 if we do a renovation on this, and maybe that rehab will cost us 50K, given these comps that we're kind of looking at right now. And we have buyers right here that have done verified purchases, and we can literally just call them. And the skip tracing accuracy of these buyers is using AI and looking at their actual call records. Since AI has come out, skip tracing has gotten a lot better, and we can just unlock them. Look at all of them. I just unlock these people. I click on one of them, and then I copy and paste their phone number, and I throw it into my phone. And if that number turns blue, you know that this person has an iPhone. And the key about that is if the number is green, it could be a random collection of numbers. But if the number is blue, you know you're actually talking to the real person. But it's something crazy that we've come out with recently, and my team just cold calls on this all day long for fix and flips. And if you guys haven't, look at this. This number is blue. Check it out. Blue number right here. I wonder if I can call this guy. Maybe I'm gonna try to call this guy. I can call this guy and I can reference a property that he just purchased. So is this Kim Darby? Yes, that's Kim Darby. So Kim Darby purchased Division Ave 6 months ago, and I can literally call Kim right now. Let's see if Kim will talk to me, and I could just pretend to be a wholesaler and be like, "Yo, what are you looking for? Check this out."
Hi. If you record your name and reason for calling, I'll see if this person is available.
Richard Taylor Property.
Thanks, Richard Taylor. Please stay on the line.
His phone number is registered in Birmingham, Alabama. I can see on my call. Please pick up, Kim. Please pick up. I can see this is a real number.
I'm sorry, this person is not available. If you would like to leave an additional message.
Essentially, I believe that to be Kim, and I can see that Kim is flipping here. And I can literally just, now what I can do to wholesale is I can find myself a good flip like this one, get it 20 to 30K below list, and I can literally just call a flipper right then, right there. So guys, if you're wondering what's making up a large majority of our assignment fees right now, it's this. You finding a really good fix and flip like this one that I just found. Kent, I'll drop this thing in your DMs because I think it is a good flip. You just want to get a little bit below list, maybe like 20 or 30K. And then, dude, try to do some cold calling. Send it to my team. Do some cold calling. Post it on Facebook. That's how I got my first deal, Kent. And I think it's probably how you're going to get your first deal. Creative finance is cool, but I'm finding out that it's kind of like a solution that I use for specific scenarios rather than my entire hunting process.
Yeah, because what my issue's been is just getting anything worthwhile under contract. Because I've had stuff under contract before, but no traction. Either your team couldn't find a buyer or I couldn't find one when I marketed it. It's just getting something under contract because I haven't had that many under contract. That's what my issue is running into.
Dude, I'll tell you what, I'd be happy to give you proof of funds for this thing, and you can lock up a flip like this. I'll even partner with you on the deal, because my team is selling deals like this left and right. And if it's a very clear fix and flip like this one may be, I haven't done too much hunting into it, but as I just look in this area, I mean, let me just draw around the small vicinity of this property really quick. If we actually have good fix and flip results here, which it kind of looks like we do. I mean, look at this, 170, 180, 180. We're bigger than 2 out of the 3 comps by 500 square feet that we're seeing right here. And then you've got this one 166 and this one 154 don't even look to be renovated. So I think this is a pretty definitive ARV of probably $180,000 to $200,000. And we just need to get this thing under contract. Now we need to look at the rehab. I mean, rehab on this, I don't think it needs a new roof. That roof looks good. Interior probably needs like 40K. I'm gonna look around. This is drywall, but it looks like it could be older. I don't know if they finished it or how long it's been sitting. I'd probably put this thing at probably new windows too. We'll call it $50,000. But with $50,000 of rehab, this thing's gonna be nice. And if you were to get this thing under contract for 45K and you sell it for $55,000, if the person's in the deal for $55,000 and they have $10,000 in closing costs, $50,000 in rehab, they're in it for 115 with an ARV low end of 170, meaning that, dude, you could probably lock something like this up. I would say 45K, sell it for 55K just by cold calling some buyers. It's working. It's working. It's working surprisingly well. And the buyer's problem has kind of been solved with this new addition.
Right. Now, so when it comes to fix and flips, is there like a certain equation that you try to figure out what the rehab is going to be? Because I know you got your light, your medium, your heavy, and from other people I've spoken to, there's like a dollar amount per square foot. Like, light is like $15 to $25 a square foot. Medium is like 30 to like 55, and then heavy is like 60 to 80 a square foot. Is that?
Yeah, I remember formulas like that when I started. I think I made a document that outlines the expenses. Let me see. 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 Let me see.
I know it's all dependent on market per market too, because some markets you're gonna have lower, some markets are gonna be higher, but it should all be roughly in the same ballpark.
Rehab estimates. Windows. Roof. Let's do 10 to 13,000. I'm just gonna run through these. Paint 5, refinish floor 3 to 6, kitchen. This is a good estimate right here.
Now, so you got that range for the roof of like 10 to 13. Now, how do you gauge it? Is it just probably dependent on the size of property?
Hold on, let me put this one in here. I think water heater is not. I think we can get a water heater installed for $2,500. Water heater and install for $2,500. So HVAC, water heater, furnace. I made this some time ago. I know more about rehab now. So furnace, I also think we could get a furnace installed for like $3,000. But these are some loose numbers, Kent. I would say this: you start to recognize the big ticket items. The big ticket items are roof and windows are usually our biggest thing, and then siding, if applicable, is also pretty big. But man, in these pictures here, I'm refinishing the floors, I'm scraping the walls. You know, that's not very much, but then I have to do a lot in the other portions of the house, including windows. And I feel like 50K is probably a decent estimate for this, unless we find more things. But I'll tell you what, Ken, I'll give you this sheet right here that I was just looking at, and you can use this as a rough estimate. But I'm nervous about the price per square foot thing because I haven't used it in so long, and I don't think I could advise you on that. But you know, these are some things you could just kind of price it out just by looking at the photos of the property.
Yeah, and I'll text the agent for the 3 duplexes in St. Louis. I'll let him know that you're going to give him a jingle tomorrow to see if we can make anything happen.
Absolutely. Our Birmingham seller finance deal closed today. Closing attorney received funds from buyers. Seller's agent passed away, so they can't reach the seller. Can you check PropStream for owner info? Yeah, Brock, can I get the address, please? We'll do that really quickly here. Oh, we got a lot of people on stage. Shit. We'll get through them. It's okay. Yeah, Brock, I got you. Also, fastpeoplesearch.com or just like public record helps. So it's not a seller, it's an LLC. This is your LLC. They have a mailing address right here. Oh, the mailing address is their address. Title company, title should have the seller's info. Title definitely has the seller's info. So I would good job, Miss Veo. That's Mrs. Veo. That's really awesome. I'm happy for you. This is killer. Yeah, sorry, Brock. I don't have much more information than that. Anyways, let's run through these. Sue, how are you? I haven't seen you in a second. It sounds like you took a moment to recover from your situation with your deal.
Sort of. Actually, Mike gave me the phone number for a guy who's been working through foreclosures, and I've been working with him a lot. We have 5 under contract right now, which is pretty exciting. So
good.
So yeah,
I'm glad to see you up and running.
Thanks. I think it's you start off doing like everything, and right now I'm trying to zone in, getting really good at something, and I'm trying to do the subject too. But actually, I have a question, and I wanted to see if you can help me. I have this property. It's been on the market for a year. Just sending you the info via DM. And I don't know. I had told them that I would that we only buy properties by taking over their mortgage because they thought that they had lower equity. And apparently they just told me that their mortgage balance is $130,000, but they have a HUD partial claim balance, and I don't know how. Do I include that in the purchase price, or I don't know how to structure it?
Yeah, I think what the partial claim is like a no interest amount of money that they lend to you, and it's just sort of like a generous loan that the government gives. And I think it's paid back when the property sells, but I don't think it has to be paid back if you do a subject to deal or a trust acquisition agreement. I think we could just take over the partial claim and pay it back when we actually do a conventional sale. However, I could be wrong about that. I don't have 100% certainty on that.
Okay. Yeah. And the other question that I had for you was, I'm trying to see what would be a fair price on this. I thought that it would cash flow a little bit better. The PITI is $1,900, and Rentcast says that it would rent for $2,030 a month. That's very specific. So it doesn't cash flow that much, but I know that some of your buyers buy properties that don't cash flow that much.
Yeah. So we I don't know if you heard my initial call this morning, but I had an initial call with a seller where I got him to pay closing costs and let us take over the deal for $0 down. So truly a free house. This looks like it needs a little rehab, largely on the ceiling. You see the crosshatch on the ceiling? It's like unpainted. I don't know what that is, but these are all factors for retail buyers. So retail buyers, I'll show you a very similar type of deal I did to this, and it will answer your question. I did this thing in Cypress, Texas. So I did this deal in Cypress, Texas some time ago. And the seller had a 7% interest rate, was not cash flowing. And if you look at the property, we can kind of see what the condition looks like. This is the property, and this is the interior of the property. It's really nice. We got it for $0 down, and it didn't cash flow, 7% interest rate, bad rate. But because it was $0 down, we were able to find a retail buyer actually out of the Discord whose parents moved into this property and live there now. The only thing is, if a property is a little bit unappealing as that one is, it might be a little bit harder to do a $0 down deal. So I feel like the seller might say yes to $0 down. I don't know what the agent situation is, and maybe they'll pay closing costs. But the house is kind of like, not super cute, not super pretty, not really something we could market to get somebody to live in. So the name of the game with these $0 down deals that don't cash flow is make it appealing to somebody who'd want to live in the property, and then that's all about like personal preference, and it starts with, is the property in nice, clean, livable condition like this one is?
Okay, I understand. Got it. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Talk soon.
Okay.
001 PE. We spoke last week, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Thanks, Richard. Thank you.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well today. How can I help you?
Yeah, so it's my third week of joining Hold My Hands, and I signed my first contract. Thanks to Pam. He helped me do the numbers, and it was great.
Perfect. You just signed your first contract 3 weeks into Hold My Hand Wholesale. Congratulations. Where are you doing this from, by the way?
Yeah. I'm doing this from Nigeria.
Okay, so first contract in 3 weeks. He's doing this from Nigeria. That is very, very cool. Okay, well, let me hopefully validate your deal and let you know if it's a good one. You want to DM me the address, or you want to say it out loud?
I could do that. Let me DM you the address right away.
Sure. You want me to keep it private, or are you under contract so we don't actually have to keep it private? Because nobody can take a deal that's already under contract.
Okay. Let me just call it out. 706E Iowa Street, Evansville, Indiana.
$7060 Iowa Street.
706, not 60.
Oh, okay. Great. Okay. Single family, 2 beds, 2 baths. Interesting condition, interesting interior. Overall looks to be decent. Okay. Interesting location. So hoping for creative finance. What do you have on this?
So the seller has a mortgage of $65,000, and then we promise to give her extra $10,000 on it. The mortgage is about 2.5 interest.
Deal. That's a deal. 100%. That's a deal. Yeah, bro, you can't get 2.5% interest anymore. Holy shit. That's a deal, dude. 10K down on $100,000 property with 2.5% interest on it with equity built in. And this is in Evansville, Indiana. The rent is $1,167, and this property would have PITI of probably like 50. So 150. Dude, is the PITI like $450? Sorry, I can't hear you. 450?
Yeah, I think so. Let me check that.
Well, we definitely need to get the mortgage statement.
I have the mortgage statement already.
What does it say monthly is on this?
That's what I'm checking. Let me hold on.
Dude, that's a deal from Nigeria. This guy's 3 weeks in, and he and no real estate professional will tell you this is not a deal. Turnkey property, and when I say turnkey, it looks fine, not perfect. But we're looking at a turnkey property. I'll flip my camera right here to show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like. You know, it's just a house.
Yeah.
I can't see any.
PITI is about it's about it is about 290, about that.
It can't be 290.
Correct.
So the PITI is probably like 450, 500. The reason I say that is because his principal and interest is going to be about 290. You need the mortgage statement. The mortgage statement looks like this.
Yeah.
This is what a mortgage statement looks like. It's a document that looks a lot like this right here. I'll drop a photo of this in the chat. So you can say to the seller, hey, I need something that looks like this. This is you'll find this in your mortgage portal.
She sent it to me already. That's what I'm trying to calculate now.
It should say regular monthly payment. It should say principal, interest, escrow, and regular monthly payment on there. So it should be like right on the front.
829.
Also impossible. Can you please send it to me? Because it can only be 829 if they're massively behind on payments. Because, you know, if they got this loan in 2021 and their initial loan balance was 72,750, the math doesn't math. 72,750 initial loan balance with even a 3% interest rate is $300 a month. Even if it's amortized over 15 years, it's still not $700 or $800 per month with the taxes and insurance.
I just sent that to you.
So there's probably some sort of escrow balance or something, but this is. Let me go ahead and check it out. Okay. 688. Total amount due, regular monthly payment 829, past payment breakdown. It's not really not interest-bearing principal. What? Interest-bearing principal is $64,000 and their rate is 2.7. Where's their taxes? Taxes and insurance. Wow. Taxes and insurance are 3. Okay. Principal and interest, 148 and 148. So about 300. And then they're saying taxes and insurance are 391. Taxes and insurance are now. Oops. Okay, so I'm having a hard time believing this. It's saying that their taxes and insurance are $532 a month in Evansville, Indiana. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's a 90K listing. I don't think they have $500 in taxes and insurance. There's just no way. Those taxes are absolutely absurd. So I just need to. I'm going to say this. You should call the seller, and you should ask them what their taxes are, because this does not look right. As I look at the taxes right here, they're nowhere near this. They're like nowhere near this. So the seller needs to hop on the. I'm gonna write out a message. Your taxes.
I could send you her number, and then she could.
It's just
call.
it's It's just something that you need to text them, and I'm going to text them.
Okay.
So I'm going to write you a message. Your taxes are showing as $500+ per month, and public record shows them as significantly less. If taxes are truly this high, parentheses, I don't think they are. Your area of Indiana would have some of the highest taxes in the entire United States relative to the value of the property. That would mean the property's worth, it's an impossibility. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it because, dude, the tax rate would just be unfathomably high if that were the case. It would be some of the highest in the entire United States. So that's the first part. Then you're going to say, could you please call your mortgage company and ask why they're so high? It's possible that you have an escrow balance increasing regular monthly taxes. And the reason we need to ask this is because the rent is $1,100 and they're saying it's the mortgage says that they pay $800 per month. But dude, their principal and interest is only $300. So PropStream is right. I'm in shock if a small town in Indiana has $500 in taxes and insurance per month. It just wouldn't make any sense to me. So I'd love to know. I'd love to know. And if they would call their mortgage company, I can bring you up tomorrow and you can let me know.
Sounds good.
Look at this.
No
Evansville.
problem.
Look, somebody just put this in the chat. Evansville, Indiana has relatively low property taxes compared with the US overall. Effective property tax rate 0.8 to 1.07, which is very, very, very standard for a property that's not a big town. Evansville has like what, 70, 80, maybe 100,000 people. There, it just wouldn't be that high in really any scenario. So something's up. She needs to call her mortgage company and ask about her regular monthly payment and why taxes and insurance are showing as over $500 a month. Yeah. That's my feedback. I think your regular monthly payment, I think taxes should not be over $100 or $150. And I think insurance should not be over like $75. So I would imagine taxes and insurance maximum $250, meaning $550 monthly payment, which means you're in the green. So I just can't imagine this scenario being true. So she needs to call and ask. Anyways, I got to move on. Sammy, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going, Richard?
Hey, doing well.
I've got a property here. It's a 6-unit. Just sent you the address.
What is the mortgage cost? I got to move kind of quickly here. What's the mortgage cost per month?
Yeah. They have a $360 that they owe on it.
What does it cost per month?
It's like, what was that, sorry?
What is the mortgage cost per month?
So the owner pays utilities and everything. Right now, with utilities, it's over $5,000, just about like $5,200, I'd say. But it could rent out for potential $7,500. One of them is vacant.
How many units? 6?
6 units, freshly remodeled.
Okay, 6 units.
Roof and everything.
Now, I kind of want to know that figure without utilities. So it looks like they pay the mortgage I'm seeing. I don't understand why. This is a similar scenario to last situation. I see that your seller owes $354 and it cost him $2,200 a month. Taxes and insurance in this area could be as high as $1,000, but even if they were as high as $1,000, he'd be paying $3,200 a month. So I'm seeing his mortgage balance costing $2,200 a month and taxes potentially being $1,000, which would mean much less in payments than that.
Those numbers are wrong. I did clarify with the agent. PITI is about $4,500 because they do have a 7% interest rate, so it's not the best interest rate. And they do have a balance $360,000. I clarified that with the agent.
This is another similar scenario. The math isn't fully mathing. Check this out. I want to show you this. $5,200 for a property of this value just doesn't make sense. So check this out. If we go, you can see their initial loan balance on the property. If we do 374, which is their initial loan balance, and you put a 7% interest rate, it's 2,400. That would mean that taxes and insurance are another 2,500, and then there's utilities on top. Similar scenario. I don't believe it. So you can send them this. You could say, hey, even if your interest rate is 7%, mortgage shouldn't be that high. Taxes and insurance in this area are probably $1,000 a month, and that's a high-end estimate. So I could not imagine your payment being above 3,500. Can you tell me payment so high? Because here we have your initial loan balance, which is called your interest-bearing principal, or your principal-bearing interest, sorry, and it's $2,500. And even with $1,000 of taxes and insurance, which is possible here, but unlikely, I see taxes as $8,200 per year, which is less than that. You still wouldn't be that high. So I just need to know, where does the $5,200 come from? That's the biggest kicker here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, send them this picture. This is a mortgage calculator, and you can also send them this picture, which shows their initial mortgage balance. So their initial mortgage balance is $374,500. So I need, my info may be wrong, but I just can't see where their info would be right. So we gotta ask them about that. Say, hey, can you figure this out for me? Because your sub two deal sounds pretty good, but maybe utilities are crazy. But I have 5-unit properties, and utilities are nowhere near that high. So I this same situation as last. Go call the agent and be like, wait. If I take your initial loan balance, by the way, is this your initial loan balance? Please confirm that for me. And I stack a 7% rate on it and then a crazy amount of taxes and insurance, we're at $3,500 a month. Where the hell is this thing costing you $5,200 a month? Break that down for me, and then come back and we'll redo the deal. But dude, as your deal stands now, if it costs $5,200 and brings in 70 something hundred, buyers' feedback, they might just take it over vacant. If you could do a moderate down payment, like maybe like 5 to upwards of 8%, a buyer might take over that debt vacant because it's a desirable type of property in a good location, but it would help if it's occupied. And what would really help is if we understand why that payment's so high.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, 5 of the units are occupied. That 6th one, this is the only one that would be vacant. So
perfect. I thought it was fully vacant. So dude, as it stands now, what down payment could you do?
I told him $35,000 to the seller, pay his commissions and closing costs. So
I love this. 6-unit, $35K down, $2,500 gross gap in cash flow. This sounds really good. Figure out that payment for me, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good job, man. I love your deal. We'll talk to Hunter now. Hello, Hunter.
Hi, Richard. How are you?
I'm doing well today, man. How can I help you?
Good. I sent you one that I'm working on. I initially offered 45. They countered at 50. I'm trying to figure out if the rehab is 40 to 50. I'm used to Dallas's remodel scene, and so it's a little more pricier than Detroit's, but I'm trying to find out if I can make a deal work at 50 if I think that the ARV came out at 120.
Perfect. Could you send me the address?
Yeah, I think I sent it to you already.
Checking.
Double check.
50 to 120. You said 50K contract price, 120 after repair value.
Yeah, that's what they countered at, because I initially offered 45, which I'm not sure if that was already too high, but they countered me at 50, and I told them I was stuck at 45.
So
I don't know if I should sign for 50 and then, or if I need to back it. I don't know.
Before we discuss the numbers side of things, I always talk about an emotional perspective of wholesaling on market real estate, and that emotional perspective is the buyer thinking about how much money they're paying you for the service you've provided. And here, if you lock it up at 50 and we send it to the buyer at 55, the buyer looks at the property and says, this house has been here for not 10K, 5K, because you're stacking a fee on that. So the buyer sees that there's 100 days on market and they're only 5K below list. So part of what gets me excited as a buyer for on market real estate is that you bring this to me at 40K and you're under contract at 30K and I give you $10,000 because nice, you got me a 20K discount, which is 33% or hopefully so of $60,000. So I would say we need to do a deeper discount, but you know, if
I've
the,
been negotiating with them since before they did an 8K discount. So at 45, it was kind of okay, but then since then they dropped it 8K, so now it's less of a deal to get at 45.
I would lock.
So I don't know if I need to go back at lower.
If the numbers worked, I'd lock this up at 40. If the numbers worked, I'd lock this up at 40. And then, dude, remember, throw this thing into Buy Box Cartel. Look at all the flippers around there. Hey, are you flipping? What are you looking for? I saw you bought this neighbor's house. How about this one? You know, and gosh, these are not sellers. These people want to take your call.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Richard. That's my question for the day.
Yeah, just a little deeper discount, but talk soon.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.
Guys, I'm also in the market for another multifamily in Detroit. I haven't been looking recently because I'm busy with so many other things. Find it for me. My lender's got 5 to 10K for you, depending on your discount. I had a guy in Nairobi, Kenya, find me one of my properties. Let's talk to the wholesaler 6-7. What's going on, Doug?
What's going on? So, Maynard Street, we had that last week. We discussed that a little bit. The realtor came back to me. They're taking another offer. So,
Maynard Street.
You know, I hope that one falls out. But
Maynard, I don't remember that one.
In Jacksonville, it was for list at 660K. You called the realtor.
Oh, damn. No. That one was so good. That sucks, dude.
That was a good deal.
Man, we could have gone a little higher. We probably could have gone a little higher on the down payment, maybe like 5K higher on that. But yeah, that's a great deal.
Anyway, I have a flip maybe in Dayton, Ohio. I sent you the address. I have a question because she seemed pretty open to 0.6 below list price.
Nice.
But the problem is it's on the, what's it called? The structural nuisance abatement program.
This is okay. It's there. I actually bought a property like this, and you have to ask if it's condemned. That's the first thing. You have to say, hey, is this condemned? If it's condemned, walk away. The second thing is, this is kind of like a city code violation. The city has said, you have this problem and this problem and this problem, and these need to be fixed and addressed with the city. I had one of those issues in Detroit. It was honestly a breeze. It was not that hard. So you need to say, hey, what is it? Is it a foundation issue? If it's a foundation issue, walk away. It's going to be very expensive to fix. If it's a foundation issue, I might walk away, but if they think that your property is violating their city codes for maybe 1 or 2 or 3 reasons, and it's just something that we'd fix if we renovated the property anyways, that's okay. That's okay. But do ask about the condemned thing, and then ask if it, when they say structural, I think, oh, I hope that's not the foundation. Because if it's got foundation issues, buyers will run from that. They won't touch it.
Okay. Can I come back up tomorrow as well to finish it?
Absolutely.
Finish the deal? All right. Thank you.
Talk soon. Okay, Pam, what's going on?
Hey, first I just want to say how fun this community is. Like, you had a guy like maybe 2 guys ago that you were talking to up here. I actually closed his deal on my first live stream. The guy from Nigeria.
Dude.
That mortgage takeover, and I'm the one that called it on the live.
Hell yeah.
It's been super fun. Like, like this last week. Like, I'm JVing someone else's first deal too, so it's pretty fun. But I sent you the updated. I pretty much got everything aligned. So the last thing I sent you on Discord is the rent, first PITI, and then the balance for the duplexes.
All right, let's check it out. I'm ready. Oh yes, you did it. You did it. You did it. And then photos.
And this is actual rent too. So it's actuals, and so 17 of 22 are rented.
This is good.
I thought they were mostly vacant. But it turns out they mostly are tenanted with 17 of 22. But they're all verbal though, all verbal month to month. But I guess these tenants are okay with signing leases, 12-year. Or 12 month.
So I'm gonna pick the highest cash flowing ones. So it looks like Keeling is pretty heat. I'm about to get such a big attorney payout. Holy shit. Let's send this to the buyer. So let's
maybe Eugene. That was $16.90 PITI, $2,500 rent.
Dexter, rural, Eugene. Yes, that one's good too. So there's two that are. Some of these are like a little close. Keeling. Oh, Euclid's not terrible. And then that's not bad. That's a little tight on Indianapolis Ave. And then let's grab one more for him. One more. I think down payment should be proportionate too. So Eugene, what do I think is the next best? Keeling. So Keeling's solid. Eugene is solid. Rural, little Colorado maybe? Yeah, probably Colorado.
Yeah, 17 and 25. Yeah.
Let me call my buyer. And honestly, I'd be happy to connect you directly with the buyer on here. I just want you to get a win, man. Let me go call him. How can I learn to do this with you? Join Hold My Hand Wholesale. Hey, I have much more info on these deals I told you about. I picked the 3 best ones for you, and I just put them in your text messages here. There's about roughly $1,000 gap between PITI and rent, and I'm going to get you entry fees for each one in just a moment. But I think assuming decent condition, these could be something good.
Sounds good to me. I'm gonna look them over. I'm at the airport, so I'm gonna get back to you tomorrow if that's cool.
For sure. Take your time.
Thank you.
Absolutely. See ya. So for these 3, Pam, is entry the same across all of them?
Yeah, that's how I got it marketed. Just everything for 29, pretty much.
Okay. I think with gross anywhere between 400 to 700 cash flow per property, we should ask proportionate amounts. So you have 18 down and 29 is 10K per.
Yeah, it turns out I think it's another 1,000 on top of that because they had arrears for some of them, so we balanced it. So I think the arrears came out to just 19 to the seller.
Okay, so 29 each. Let me call another buyer here because it cost us. He's such a busy guy. Let me call Joseph. I know Joseph has somebody for this.
Cosmetics, maybe about 10. I want to say that's what I'm kind of building in for too.
Let's give him a call. Can I do 7K per property and you don't have to accept it? It's just a low end offer just in case you can't find somebody else.
Totally. Like I'm open to it. I think the JV partner, he wants to get the most, but at this point we know we're in our second week on contract and condition wasn't what we thought it was. But they do have tenants though.
Okay, 7 plus 19, 26, 26K per 26K entry plus CC per. Dude, so as to not use up all of Shell's resources I don't mean all of her resources. I think if you send Shell all of these, she'll be slightly overwhelmed. But I think if you pick these 3 properties and you get them to Shell and you say just market these, I think we'll have a buyer in a couple days. But I think as a package, it's going to be pretty hard to find a buyer because some of them are pretty break-even cash flow, especially with the 20% off the top. So I'd say if you pick these 3, which are Keeling, Eugene, and Colorado. So Keeling, Eugene, and Colorado. And I'm actually going to do it for you. I'll just connect you directly with Shell so she responds. So Shell.
Yeah, I know she was looking at them all right now, but yeah.
So yeah, I think it'll take her longer to sell all of them. Hey, Pam has these 3 under contract and more, but these are the best 3. I'd ask 26K entry per property. Okay, I've got this over to 3 buyers here.
Cool.
I'm gonna send it to a 4th too. Okay. Mortgage.
Shell just assigned another one of my deals too for 5,000.
Love it.
And EMD is in.
Dude, that's the kicker. That's the thing. All right. Well, technically three. Three buyers have that. One of them is the same other guy. But yeah, dude, I think that I think the thing is you might want to sell the separate buyers. I know you have them contracted individually, and then I think really package the good ones. And the when duplexes don't cash flow, that's hard because retail buyers don't really want duplexes, especially with the down payment. And investors really only buy these things when they cash flow or if they're in high appreciating markets. So if the ones that don't cash flow, I might set an expectation with the seller like, hey, given the condition and then the lack of cash flow, this doesn't make a lot of sense. But I see like at least four and potentially five that I think could sell out of that. And yeah, I think you could be looking at like 7K a pop, maybe more. So it could be an assignment in the 30,000 range.
Yeah, and probably just super low. Maybe just make the entry better for the ones that are break even.
I hate to burn a bridge with the seller by lowering entry and then trying to resell and then failing to sell. I do, in my experience, it is hard to sell a duplex that doesn't really cash flow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
Anyways, dude, I have these over to Costas. Costas in the airport. He'll let me know, but he's actively buying right now. And I also have these over to a couple other people. And then you're in a chat with Shell. I would say, hey, Shell, let's focus on these rather than all of them because she's got so many others. And I think that you have a pretty solid chance of getting these things moved if she focuses on the good ones and kind of lets go of the mediocre ones.
Yeah, I kind of agree. They are kind of break even. Now looking at them.
But dude, there's at least 4 or 5 that aren't. So that's stunning.
Yeah, seller just in a situation where she's in a bad situation. So yeah, we're just trying to help her out, really.
Huge. Well, guys, I got to spin the wheel. Okay. And then for all these people on TikTok that are wanting to sign up, you can literally just go to www.hmhw.group and then make sure you show up to class because 90% of people who join more than that don't actually show up to class. That's how you learn. The courses are fine, the group chat is fine, the resources are fine. The live stream is where you see me shut down deals and accept deals left and right. Yeah. Anyways, guys, TikTok, I'm gonna do the wheel spin here, and I have to replace the ripstick with the Quest cookies. We got to do that. Okay. All right. Oh, and then it's pickleball time. Let's go. Can't wait. I'll keep you guys posted as to whether or not pickleball is all 3 package. Oh, look, buyer's already getting back to me, Pam.
Oh, nice.
Separate contracts, all are duplexes. Rare deal type, no qualification or DTI. Okay, let's spin this thing. Oh, well, I wonder what outcome that annihilated. We'll see. Guys, I'm literally approaching 8% body fat. Isn't this crazy? I'm like an anatomy model right now. This is free VIP for 1 month. This is huge. Big moves. Richard's the only one that can get away with wearing these shorts. Yeah, you know what's interesting? Longer shorts are in style right now, and I wear longer shorts when I go out. Like if I'm trying to put together an outfit. But in the gym, I'm gonna wear my shorter shorts. They're not, I usually if you were to see me walking around, it kind of look like this. Because when I sit down in my chair, they get like worked up or walked up a little bit. But I kind of walk around like this when I'm at the gym. It's just, I don't know, it's more comfortable. Okay. So what do we do? Free VIP. Pam, I'm gonna keep you posted. Buyers hitting me back about these right now. So we're gonna do, how should we give this away? Free VIP. I mean, VIP is what you use to find the buyers for your deals. And am I gonna give this away today? I gotta hop on the really random trivia generator. What can we find? Nice. Love this. 3, 2, 1, go. Peridot is which month's birthstone? I don't even know. The is August. I don't know how to say that, Rock. It looks like period with a T at the end, as the meme would suggest. But Chris 247, you win. That's free VIP. I've been showing VIP and what it can do, but guys, it's just buyers on steroids. It's insane. But that's Chris 247 for the win. Chris, I'm gonna have Grayshell add that to your account. Okay, that should show up on your account. Let me know if it doesn't, but it should probably be there within like 24 hours because she's probably asleep right now.
Sweet, thanks, man.
Absolutely. You know how to use VIP?
Yeah, I have lightning leads. And I actually had canceled it today because I was gonna get the VIP. So,
dude,
that's badass.
Lightning leads comes with VIP, which is pretty cool. Cool. Moises, I would have needed to talk to you like 30 minutes ago, dude. I gotta hop on a call, like a super important call right now. I know you're looking for proof of funds. What I can give you is a couple bank statements right now, Moises. What do we have? Do we have a recent? Well, this says hold my hand wholesale on it. This also says hold my hand wholesale. And this also says hold my hand wholesale. And what month is this? May 1st through 29th.
I mean, you could underwrite that aggressively. So it's definitely like minimum, like a 35, 40K profit on that flip.
Well, you can redact this a little bit. It says hold my hand wholesale. Oh, shit. There's a number on this. I don't have to.
You could redact whatever. She doesn't care. She just wanted it to be like from the buyer. You guys buyers, I guess.
Okay. Well, this shows substantial income. I don't know what she's going to say about it because it's from May. Saving free noises. I'm like on late right now. I got to head out. I'm sorry.
I appreciate it. No, I don't.
I had to head out, unfortunately. Yeah. Instagram, TikTok. Guys, if you want to join Hold My Hand Wholesale, www.hmhw.group. If you like the $0 down house stuff that we did earlier today, that can be found at school.com/American Dream. Anyways, guys, I must head out. I simply must head out. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye. Catch you later, YouTube. See ya.